Hello, everybody. I'm waiting on Alice to come on in for a fourth episode of Shiver Me Timbers. Or, excuse me, Scissor Me Timbers. I did it wrong. Let's see. What up, Benny? Hi, TT. Hello, everybody. Alice will be here in a second. Hey, Joe Morgan. Love it. All right. So, yeah. I'm just waiting on Alice. We're going to have a Thursday night bad boy. Tactical, there's only 5 people in here anyways, but thank you so much for always hyping. Hype squad. We are each other's hype squad. I'm only drinking 2 beers tonight, too, everybody. And I'm going to drink them slow. No more chugging like mommy does, man. No more shotgunning. I'm horrible. How have you been, Joe? I've been Benny. Tack, I know how you've been. I watch you all day. You have no secrets from me. No, just kidding. Squirrel. Hey, squirrel. Rising tides raise all ships. That's very nice. Hey, Steel. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on our girls' night. But just waiting on our girl here. Let me make sure I gave her the right link because that could be a problem. I like this. Today, like, fucking flew by. The week's been flying by. The year's been flying. I mean, it's fucking June. Did you guys know it's June? The hell? It's June. It's already June what? 2nd? Been down with the stomach bug. Oh, good. I'm glad you're feeling better, Benny. At least stomach bugs, they suck. Especially if it comes out both ends, right? But you lose a couple pounds, kind of reset your stomach. That's how I always felt. But, yeah. I'm glad you're on the mend. Did you get a stomach bug vaccine to be on the mend? No, just kidding. That's what they're going to do next, right? They're going to spread any fucking disease. They'd be like, oh my God, you need to get a vaccine for that. And you're like, dude, I can fucking throw up for a day or two. I can handle that. No big deal. They're going to make everybody scared of fucking everything. Where's Alice? Stop it, Tack. I love you. I need to make more accounts so I can like your shit a bunch of times too. Bump that vaccine. Yeah, like I still think it's weird. Some of you might be young enough and got it, but I still think it's weird. They were given the chickenpox vaccine. Like, just seemed weird. Oh, here she is. Here she is. Oh, I let her set it up. Are we gonna be looking up her nose if I put her on right away? But maybe they'll like it. I'm like, we'll look up your nose anyways.
Oh no!
What up?
Yeah, I'm trying to connect.
Oh. I can hear you, but yeah, your video froze up. But hey, Samuus, and you got earphones too. You're professional now.
Yeah, but I can't hear on them.
I don't know. Technology's a bitch, man. I don't fucking know.
All right, let me try again.
Okay. Here, and I'll take. Are you gonna restart it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take you out. Okay. Oh, you work when I can see you down here. You're working. Sorry, everybody. We're girls. Okay. Now it's working. Can you hear now? It froze again. No, I'm gonna take her out and let her figure out. Maybe start it over, Alice. Come out completely and then come back in. That might be the best bet. Oh. There we go. Hey, Chad. Hey, Samuus. Yes, Benny. See, if you get sick, you're allowed to just blame people. It's like the new thing, especially for like a cold. Jesus. Cheers, everybody. I said this earlier, but I am only drinking 2 beers tonight, and I'm going to drink them slow because I have a fucking problem shotgunning beers. I do need a tech guy stand beers. Actually, Squirrel. I should actually hire Squirrel in the chat. He's already starting. If everyone is on Discord, my friend Flying Squirrel is building me a Discord, and I still haven't even fucking looked at it because I was gone most of the day, and it just takes a lot of energy for me to figure tech stuff out. But I will, Force Mommy will eventually have a Discord here. What will I do with it? I don't know. We'll have fun though. All right. Okay, you good?
I can hear you.
Oh, you sound so good too! Yay! Hey, girl.
You know what I did? I forgot to press the power.
Of course. That's like most of my tech problems too. It's always like something stupid, you know. Cheer. Are you going to Margarita?
No, just vodka and lemonade.
Oh, that's still good too.
There's a real lemon at the bottom.
Ooh, we're getting classy tonight. I should have got vodka too, but I'm like, last night I wasn't gonna drink last night, but I got one of those stupid spaces, and then I was like, oh yeah, like, and I marathoned it all night, and then I'm like, well, I have to have some tequila, so, but I didn't have too much, so that's good. Hey, first one shot. So, well, we have to get caught up. How was your little vacay?
It was good. It started off with, am I talking too loud? Because now I feel all weird with these.
No, it's all good. You'll get used to it.
Okay. So it started off with our car broke down.
On the way there?
No, my husband went to drop the dog off, and it broke down like 2 minutes from his mom's house. So he had to fix it real quick. It was just like a little bolt thingy.
Oh, it was something easy enough that he could fix at least.
Yeah, but it's still like we were supposed to get there at like 1. We didn't get there till like 5.
Because you figure like you have a couple hours to still play when you get there at 1.
Right. So I was pretty irritated. Then we get to the room, and we got a room close to the water park, which was cool. But we had this sticker on our door that's like, you're not allowed to use your balcony.
Like, what the fuck? Is it outdoor balcony, or is it like go into the inside, like the big atrium kind of part?
No, it goes to the outside. It was like, we were on the bottom floor. There's just like a little patio.
Right.
But yeah, like our whole side was not allowed to use the balcony or patio. So I was pissed about that. And then, but I was fine. Like I was happy. I was still like, I wasn't letting it ruin my time. But then, what was it? The third day we were there, my husband took my son downstairs so I could sleep. And it was just me and my daughter in the room, and I hear this knocking at the door. And I'm like, who's knocking at our door? And you're not supposed to get housekeeping there unless you request it, because you have to request housekeeping. So I'm like, I went to ignore it, and I was like, ugh, maybe it's one of them kids that Scarlett met. So I went to go get the door, and they opened the door. And it was this lady. She's like, oh, housekeeping. And I'm like, nope. And I was in my underwear.
So what the heck were they doing? If they're not, it's only supposed to come when you ask for it?
So I was going to take my son down to the water park later, and I see the lady that opened the door on me. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry about before. I just wanted to know, do you have a sticker on your door that says you're not allowed to use your balcony? And I'm like, yeah.
Like, so she wanted to make sure you weren't going to be using the balcony. She wanted to double check.
Yeah, and the funny thing is she could walk outside and see that all of us had the stickers on our door. But she just straight up was going to come in my room. I was like,
what the heck?
But I was still like happy and whatever. And then we got you get these like big cups, and they're $15, but you can fill it up the whole time you're there. So I was all excited that they had them again, because they didn't have them during COVID. And I went to use it, and like half the stuff wasn't working.
Half the drinks options?
Yeah.
And this is Great Wolf Lodge?
Yeah. And I mean, we still had a really good time. Everything was open while we were there. I got a free Long Island. That was pretty cool. Uh,
Those are good. Those get you nice and toasty.
it took me 3 hours to drink it.
No, that is. I mean, yeah, you still have a good time. It's not like obviously first world problems and shit, but like you paid for it, so I don't. You should have you. Can you make like a little complaint with them, and maybe they'll give you a discount or a coupon for the next time or something.
I'm I'm totally gonna complain. I've been going there for 10 years. And like just on this trip, like granted, I always get the deals and stuff, but at check-in, we forked over like $1,000. Like, and maybe that's not a lot to some people.
Oh, that's a lot for just for the room, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it was for the room, and then my kids get like these passes, discounted passes, so they can do all this other crap. It's still, yeah. I still had a great time though. I still had a great time.
How many nights were you guys there?
4 nights.
That's a good trip. Getting away for 4 nights is a good trip.
Yeah, it's the max I can do there though. Like the last day we were there, I told my husband, I was like, I couldn't do another night here. I was
No,
like, if you have other stuff to do while you're there, okay. But we just hung out at the lodge the whole time. I didn't want to
right.
go anywhere.
Did you no, he could fill his truck up for $1,000. That's funny. um did you guys get any like dinners without the kids and stuff, or are you guys together the whole time pretty much?
Okay, so this is what we did without the kids. We went on slides without the kids. We went to the arcade at like because their arcade's open 24 hours. We went to the arcade at like 1 o'clock in the morning and just played in the arcade.
Oh, that was probably fun though.
It was like to be a kid, but the we went on this roller coaster ride and I had to sit in front, and I've never had to sit in front on it before because I'm always on it with my daughter. I screamed so much I lost my voice.
Good. Did you go on it a couple times and scream a bunch?
Yeah, and then we went on. I went in the hot tub without everybody.
So you got some mommy relaxed time too.
Yeah, because they have just an adult hot tub, so there's like never anybody in it.
Right. Yeah, because everybody's there with kids pretty much. So adult only options are nice for that.
Yeah, I feel so weird with these bobs.
But can you like? I don't think it's the sound is better. At least when I talk to you, I feel like it doesn't cut out.
Yeah, because even there we go. Like even before when I didn't have them, like I couldn't always hear you guys with my phone. It would cut out.
It's just some are okay with it, but some are like my phone would get weird about that too. It's just the technology, the microphones are different and all these fucking things. So whatever.
I love it and I hate it. This is pretty good though.
Is that good? I know. I'm like I got one of vodka lemon. I think I have lemon. Okay, so that was last week. Got home. Everything's good at home. And the kids are done. Are they done with homeschool?
No. We homeschool year round.
Oh, well, I mean, you might as well on just learning anything year round, right?
It keeps them from like we'll take time off. Don't get me wrong, but it keeps them from like falling behind so much. So yeah, I just spent the past couple of days printing up all their curriculum for the new year because I just had to send in their stuff, and I had to send in stuff for my son.
Your son? Oh, because he's older now, or?
Yeah, because like by the time they're 6 by a certain age, you have to send in what you're gonna do. So I had to send in the stuff saying that we were gonna homeschool
them. Oh
like,
boy.
Baby.
Yeah. At least he's home with you. He can still be a baby at home, but he's just not a baby. Yeah, there's some schools out here. I think they're everywhere where they'll do. They go year round and they just do like 9 weeks on, 3 weeks off, 9 weeks on, like, and they just do it all year. I'm like, I never had to do that growing up. And when you're used to the summer thing, I'm sure that would suck, but I get it. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but they don't do nearly as much homeschooling as they do in regular school. Like regular school, it's like they're like pounding stuff in their brain.
Bunch of busy work too.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I think my daughter's kind of not enjoy life right now because I have her doing chores and stuff again all the time. It
Good.
was, yeah, it was hard to have a schedule because we were working on the house all the time. So now that the house is kind of more in order, I have her doing more stuff every day, and she's just like all mad at me.
She'll appreciate it eventually. My mother used to wake me up Saturday. Okay, so Saturday mornings, I went to regular school, right? So you think Saturday you can sleep in a little bit or what? And not that I would, but my mom would wake me up to like wash and oil the baseboards and shit like that. Just and we always had chores. It wasn't like we had to do all sorts of chores. And I was like, that was a little excessive. But then I'm like, whatever. I guess it is what it teaches you something. My baseboards are clean at my house now, so it's like. What are
Minor.
you gonna do? If I had kids, yeah, I would. They'd be doing chores. I don't get when parents don't make kids do chores. That just seems weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of parents that think Adam and I are weird because of the way we are with the kids. Like last year, I told my daughter to clean off the tables for a party that we were having. And I went outside and my husband's mom was there. And I looked at the table and I'm like, I looked at my daughter, I'm like, that's clean.
It's okay to teach that shit.
And I know that she looked at that and was just like, oh, whatever. Because I did the same kind of crap when I was her age. But you have to have a parent that's going to call you out and be like, no, that's not good enough. There's still dirt all over that table. People are coming here and they're going to eat off of that table. And his mom was like, what do you expect from her? She's 10. And I'm like, well, I mean, exactly. She's 10. Like,
Yeah,
she can
right.
clearly see, you know.
And it would only take her another like 5 seconds to finish the job, right? That's what that's more what it's about. It's like, no, listen, you got to finish the fucking job, right? It's kind of that's what you're
Right.
instilling.
Right. Like so she'll be 12. And when she's 14, she can go to work and she wants to work. Well,
Yeah.
when you go to work, like she's like, I can go work at Wendy's because they hire at 14 here. So I'm like, yeah, they're going to want you to clean off the table, like actually clean it, you know? But she's, oh, she's a trip, man. That kid. Oh
Is she
my
more
God.
like you or Adam?
Um, so her mind in a lot of ways is like mine, and she's creative like me, and she likes to read and stuff. But her mouth all day, every day is my husband. The way she goes about things is my husband. Like the damn table. That would be
I mean, my sisters had their kids, even when they were like, it sounds terrible, but like they would have my little 4-year-old nephew showing them how to empty the dishwasher. Like, you show them how to do this shit, right? And like,
yeah,
sometimes they would complain eventually about it, but it's like, if it's normal to them that we all do all this shit to keep all this shit going together and clean and running, like, I don't understand how, like I said, the parents who don't make kids do anything like throughout their whole childhood, like don't even clean their own bathrooms and shit like that. Like, how do you live on your own? What are you gonna do when you're on your own? Well, that they don't go on their own. That's the thing.
I mean, I might have made the mistake telling my daughter, I'm like, I don't want you to feel like you just have to move out when you're 18. It's like I want you to be able to save money and buy land and have, comfort in your life. But yeah, she wants to move. Like,
Well, that's the healthy way for it, and maybe she'll stay a little longer, but her goal in her head will always be like, I want to be independent. But yeah, I guess you're like, no, I want her to stay with me. I know it's different when you're parents. I was the last of 4 by a huge gap, and my parents were going fucking empty nester nuts when I was like, that's why I fucking moved out and ran, because I'm like, you guys are crazy, which it's just a human thing, especially if especially boomer moms were more focused on only being a mom, right? And like, they weren't like introspective. They weren't like, and so then this like, it hit her like, oh, they're all gone now. And then like I especially didn't need them. I was when I was gone. Financial independence and everything. They were just like crazy. But I get it. And now we're all gonna live together like part of the years anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah, my parents never went through that. They were never alone,
Yeah, because you
ever.
guys were kind of coming back and forth, and then obviously with the health stuff, you guys were all there.
Yeah, like I moved out when I was 18, and then I moved back in when I was almost 21, and I stayed until I met my husband. But I took care of my dad, and I paid just as much in rent. My bills were just as much as my husband at the time,
And you were
So like,
carrying your weight too. If you stay at home and you're helping, that's one thing, right?
yeah, I was not like my brother.
Was he a spot or like you just kind of took?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's he's part of the reason that I get really weary about people going in the military, because I think if he hadn't gone in the military, I think he would have been a much better person. Like I always think,
Oh,
yeah, like horrible stuff happens in the military, that people don't like to talk about. There's a lot of assault and stuff like that happens. But yeah, like he always had kind of issues, but man, he came back and I was like, what the fuck happened to you?
and he went in like at 18 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
He
thing is like they don't have any life experience, and then they're having all that shit put on them. It's like
My mom was happy though. Like my dad was disappointed that he went in the military, but when he got on the plane, my mom was like, "Good, he's somebody else's problem now."
oh, parents, how do any of us survive? First
Yeah.
one shot. Why does your wife always yell at you for not loading it right? Probably. It's not that hard to load it efficiently, guys. Efficiently.
I try not to bitch about that kind of stuff.
No,
I
we don't nag about dumb stuff.
I try to be thankful when he does that stuff.
Bra free. Well, I have tiny boobs, so I'm always bra free, but when you have boobs, you kind of need it. But I'm sure
Uh,
when you want to be comfortable, you don't have a bra, right?
yeah. But like when I'm doing stuff, I feel like sloppy if I don't have a bra on, because yeah, mine just
Yeah, like I don't have a bra right now. You cannot fucking tell. With you, they're like, yeah, if they were like in the way and moving around, yeah, I'd want to control them.
I had to get a new bathing suit because my old bathing suit, like they my boobs just broke it. Like
They're
so,
too big.
I'm like I
They're
kept telling
busting.
myself, I gotta find a different one. So I got one from Walmart. My first mistake. That was my first mistake, was grabbing one off the rack at Walmart. And I get home and I'm like, this is the wrong size. It's an extra large. So my husband's like, well, so I tried it on. I'm like, yeah, they're not that big. So he took it back while he was grocery shopping, and he took it up to the returns and he's like, it just wasn't my size.
oh, perfect. Did they laugh? Of course, and
Yeah.
nowadays, like you can't really like laugh at that because it could be for real.
He said he thought the lady behind him was gonna fall over. She was laughing so hard, and I'm just looking at him like, you did not say that. And it
That's
was like,
good though.
yeah, and it was such a girly top too. It was like pink and like flowy.
Good, I love it. Even my like cross dressing and older trans friends, they make fun of shit too. It's just this weird. It's not, it's this weird younger in the push for everyone else. They can laugh at their shit all the time. And that was fun. It was probably fucking funny because Adam's all manly. He's obviously not trying to like pull anything off. oh, love it. Babylon. Didn't miss much yet,
He is very
Babylon.
manly.
Talked about just talked about bras, boobs and nipples. One shot
That's
for Go
The
ahead.
sucky thing about bras after kids is like, I swear, like, I'll just find one and I just buy those and I just kind of stick with it.
Because
But,
it fits.
yeah, but before my kids, even though, like, yeah, I had boobs, like, I could, like, buy all these different types of cute, pretty bras, and now it's just
You got big old
what.
mommy milk. You got to go to the mommy milker route. I don't even like. I can wear a ton of cute stuff, and I've like bought a lot in my time. But do you think I fucking wear any of it? No. And if I do wear like a bra on the daily with some stuff, it's like the most boring ass whatever. You know, it's the same one every fucking day. Like
You
all
have
the
like
cute
the
stuff's
t-shirts
fun,
and
but
all.
you only wear it like for a specific thing or amount of time. You know, it's like waste of money in my opinion.
Yeah, I hate bras. I mean,
I
I
just
love them in a way because, yeah, when I'm trying to do stuff without one, it sucks. But
just probably
yeah, like,
running or exercising. They're probably like, bam. Just wear like a bunch of sports bras. Or no, did you were you online when they did the Adidas all the boobs? Did you ever see that? It was for
uh,
Adidas. And they just so all they had was all these it was literally on Adidas Twitter and it was boobs, but it was like a bunch of pictures, probably like 5 by 5, a bunch of very clinical boob pictures from like here to here, really bad lighting. And they were all like, like all of us have wonky boobs. There was a bunch of wonky boobs. It wasn't like it was normal people boobs, right? And they were
right,
saying they were selling sports bras by putting all those pictures of boobs up. I was like, when are they selling the like men's underwear, man? Let's see that ad.
right,
So there was so much fight because it was on the internet. Everyone had an opinion. My opinion was like, why couldn't they just make the pictures look? I mean, they're real people. Why did they have to make it look? It looked like before and after pictures from like a plastic surgeon or something. It was just like, I'm like, why
yeah,
didn't they have them like a head? Just cute. It was just so weird. Everyone got mad at me for having that opinion, but I'm like, okay, whatever. And it was just ridiculous. They were selling sports bras by just showing boobs. Clever.
I used to,
Everyone was talking about them.
very true. But yeah, I miss that. I miss the boots.
I'll try
Yeah,
and find it.
I would like to know when they're selling men's boxers.
I
Yeah,
know. It'll just be a bunch of dicks. Like
okay, this is really good.
it's lemonade and vodka. It's just regular lemonade and vodka. That's
Yeah,
good.
I did a really good. Now the next one won't taste as good.
It
You know what I
might.
mean? It's just
Might.
like it's just the perfect mix.
Good job. I'm glad we're experiencing it with you. I'm babysitting my friend's dog, Library Wolf on Twitter. I don't know if you know her, but so it's a little shorty dog too. So I have all these two little shorty dogs running around. It's been an
I want
active afternoon.
I want a small dog. My dog's huge.
They're
Like I feel
fun
like
though. Big dogs.
yeah, we need to find somewhere else for her to go when we go on vacation because it did not go well at my mother-in-law's.
Because she was too crazy, or just was she just not used to going somewhere else too? Maybe.
Well, I thought she would have let her outside a lot because she has a fenced-in yard, and we let Savannah out all like Savannah's outside a lot. Like if I'm not out there playing with her or my husband, she has like a leash in the front that she can be on that she'll like chill on for a little bit.
Right.
So we thought she would like let her run around the yard, and no, she just like had her inside, and I'm like, yeah, no wonder she was going nuts. She's not used to being inside like that.
Why didn't you let her out? Like that's what you do with dogs. You think she'd want to not in the house as much? You know.
Yeah. So she was like, no, it's okay. I'm like, well, that's why she's crazy. So
Yeah,
whatever.
they love to be outside. Like there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
No,
Like I
the
can outside
go
and
ahead.
throw the ball, and we have like a couple acres. So I mean, she gets some good running going on, and she gets the zoomies. You know.
It's good. Yeah,
Got
he's my first little dog. I had medium, like 50-pound dogs before, and I actually never thought I'd want like a little dog. But now, then you start like, it's just so much easier too. Like the poop is everything's just poop is smaller. I can can throw them in. I could give them a bath in like 2 seconds. You know, like everything's just super easy. And I'll definitely want more. I want it once I'm back on the country property. I'm getting big dogs again, but I'm like, I always have little dogs too because he snuggles under the covers and like it's so cute. Like I love him.
Yeah,
But
I want a dog. I want another cat too.
can't you just take one from the outside? If it shows up, if another one shows up, just take it.
Well, somebody freaking took our cat. Like, I swear to God, they took our cat. Because they have the tipped ear. Do you guys do that there in Colorado? The tipped
Well,
ear?
maybe with the like feral where you neuter them and put them back out or something.
Yeah, they do the tipped ear, and it means like they've been, like, yeah, so 2 of our cats just left, and now and then they come back and they look great. They look well fed. So I'm like, who the fuck is feeding them? So I told
It's the
Adam, we gotta
cat's
get.
choice, though. It's the fucking cats. That's how they fucking are. You could take care of that cat all your life, and it'll go find another home somewhere else, just cause, you know. That's what they do.
Yeah, so I told my husband we're gonna have to get some more barn cats because I'm not dealing with mice, and we get mice real bad in our garage and stuff. So, and I just want to rescue another indoor cat,
Why
but I don't
not?
have time. I have to finish the basement and get their litter boxes organized. And my daughter wants to rescue a cat, and I told her, I'm like, you don't help me at all. Like, all you do with those cats is snuggle with them. Like,
She
that's
doesn't do the
all.
care part.
No, and when I was her age, I had to clean out the litter box. Granted, it wasn't often because we had one cat. It was indoor, outdoor. But it's, she's like, I want to rescue another cat too. We
All right,
do.
then we're gonna set up a chore schedule then, and you're gonna be cleaning the boxes out every other day or whatever. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with 5 cats. Like, you don't
yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's not easy. Is like I try telling her that, and she just we came home from vacation and she goes and looks at my bed. She's like, "Oh my God, Cash was definitely laying on your bed, our black cat, and you could just see all the hair from the cat." And I'm like, "See, you don't even think about how every day I'm around this house with a vacuum, a lint roller, cleaning litter boxes. I'm like, you don't think about all that stuff. Like, you just think like, oh, mom just, scoops the litter box now and then. Like, no."
It's all good. You're gonna put the truth into them and the real life experience. Even one cat. We have one cat. Luckily, we made it so we put a little door that goes out to a cat door that goes to the garage, and then made like this little enclosed hallway, so it's outside in the garage, the litter box, which is
Yeah,
nice. But yeah, even one fucking cat. She feels like I feel like she does a lot. Like, what are you
it is.
doing? Just eating and drinking, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
what else?
and one of our cats is like 14 or 15 pounds. And
The big orange one you showed that one time?
the other orange one. But yeah, that big orange one too. He's
That's a
gotta be
huge
good.
cat.
Yeah. And none of our cats are small by any means. And yeah. But I wanna get a boy cat, name him Freddie after Freddie Mercury. And she wants to get a
Oh,
cat and name it Queen. So
that'd be cute. Oh, first one shot. You're a cat guy. I love men who like cats or something. I know like there's that whole thing around it. Like and I'm like a guy who can like a cat's pretty fucking sexy in my opinion.
yeah, it's really sexy when like a tough guy likes stuff like that. You expect like a tough looking guy or like a guy to like dogs. But when a guy's like, oh, and they're like so nice to your cat, I'm like,
It's precious. I know Mr. Forest One will sometimes pick the cat up and like go up to the window and say like, "Look out there! Like look at the window! Like what's out there?" Like it's a kid, you know. And I'm like, this is so cute. He grew up with so she's my first real cat because he actually grew up with cats and I didn't. So I was like, that's cool. Now
yeah.
we can be a cat peoples now. So
So did
because
my
my
husband. He grew up with cats.
so he is not it was just normal. Then my ex was allergic to him, so I was like, I'll never have a cat with you. So like,
I couldn't
things
be with
worked out.
somebody who is allergic to cats. It wouldn't work.
No, and you know how funny people are too. I know, like, oh hey girl, what are you doing? I've had people who are, which whatever, if you're allergic and like I keep my house so fucking clean anyways. And it's just the one cat. So when people are allergic, it's not a big deal. But like, I've had people say to my mother said this, and like, she's like, well, if you get a cat, we'll never come over. And I'm like, okay, what? Like, that's so narcissistic or like greedy or just selfish or something. I'm like, you'll be on my house how many hours a year total anyways that you would even think to like say something. I've had a friend say that too, and I was just like, what's it? Just a weird thing to think for me. Like,
It
well,
really
if you get a cat that you spend your life with, then the 0.00005% of your life that I'm over, I won't want to come over. And then guess what? They come over anyways, and they're fine. It's fine.
we have
They're
people
not
that
allergic.
cats come over.
It's fine.
It does get hard for a couple of them in the wintertime, though.
Yeah, I have my one real good girlfriend. She definitely does have. She grew up with them, but she always had allergies. But she just like pops something before she comes over, and it's fine. She even will spend the night sometimes, and it doesn't bug her that much. And she doesn't like touch the cat and all that too, which helps. So
Yeah, it's rough. Like, I know people who love cats, but they're allergic to them. And I'm like, would that be horrible?
okay, extra special. Well, cats are just easy too. Once when you find out like how easy cats are, like to take care, like you can leave for a night or two, and you don't got to have someone come over. Like it's all good.
Yeah, we just have somebody, like, when we were gone this time, he just comes over and fills their food dish once a day. Like, I leave a bunch of food, like, the first day or two, and they're fine. And then, yeah, he'll just come and refill it, freshen up their water. But yeah, I don't even have to do the litter boxes. But I set up extra litter boxes when they're gone.
Yeah, that's what you need to. We talk about allergies. I don't know if I told you about this. I have a friend too, but they're Norwegian forest cats, which are like kind of big, fluffy cats. But they found, yeah, they're very fancy. And these people found hypoallergenic ones. So, they're not. But these fuckers paid $2,500 for each cat. I'm like, what? That's so. You can get them for free. I got mine for free.
I got mine a BOGO at the local shelter.
And then she said, so the kids were all gonna be moving out of the house soon, anyways. And there was one daughter who was like a lot more allergic, and then the mom was somewhat allergic. And so she said the daughter was still allergic to him to some extent. It wasn't like it didn't. You're still gonna be allergic to it, right? But then the mom says she hasn't had any problems, so it worked for her. But if you're really allergic, I don't think the hypoallergenic, especially cats, like the dogs at least have a different kind of hair. But I'm like, how do you do that with cats?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, we got some porch.
Hairless cats, maybe.
Who's Willy Wonka's sweet candy cane cock? Oh my god, I thought he was gonna be a porn bot. Do you know who that is? Let's see how he's. Yeah.
Is that my husband's YouTube name? And I just never knew it.
Is it? Oh, it's one of Tactical's friends. It looks like maybe. We'll let him stay. The way you have it up, all those porn bots, it's all like that with the same emojis and shit. So it's all good.
I'm gonna have to refill this. I should have just brought it all in here.
And that's what I've been doing. You can go refill if you want. If you're ready. I brought 2 beers up. Good job. Yeah. You sucked that down. Good job, girlfriend.
It was very refreshing.
First a berry sus. Candy honey. I don't need no more fucking cavities, man. I give the dentist too much money as it is. I'm more of a savory. I like savory treats. Let's see. First one shot. I know you said I need a better camera, but I don't even like how clear this camera is. I don't like it. I don't want to be clear. I want to be filtered and like where you can't see details. Like look how shiny my forehead. Like I hate that. I'm not getting no HD camera. Okay, don't post pictures of the candy cock, please. First shot, my cat. This one cat. This is the only animal I've ever had since a baby, and she was a friend of mine found a litter in a barn, so I just got her for free. I mean, that's the best way to get cats is you just, there's so many of them. Thinking about like, I don't know. I've never done that cock But I mean, if you need it, try it out. It's expensive. It'll cost you money, but I think they have a lot more technology nowadays too. It's not just like where they bleach your fucking teeth out. Yeah, they do the light stuff. So go do it, and then bleach your asshole afterwards. I don't give dentists any more money than I actually have to, because fuck dentists. I fucking hate them. Oh, that's why you wanted first shot. Okay. He was saying he wanted me to get a HD camera, and I'm like, I don't even like how clear, like it's too clear right now. I don't like it. I'm like, I want it to like not look, I want it to look fuzzy, you know. But he's like, well, then I can maybe see your nipples. I'm like, okay, I get that. I think that. I get that. Yeah, first one shot. You're not on Twitter. I've posted some, like, my nipples show up on through tank tops all the time, especially in the summer because it's cold in the house, you know, and whatever. One time I told someone, I was like, because I have such small boobs, I have one nipple. It's not a total innie, but you know, it's not. It'll kind of be chill, like that's. And I told someone that, and they're like, messaged me like, you could here. They gave me a name, like you could get surgery to fix that, blah blah. And I'm like, why would I go get surgery? It's not even. It's nothing. They're normal. Like 99% of the time. Like that's what I hate when I tell people shit sometimes. And that was a person. I support trans people. It's a trans person who probably they hate their body. So anytime someone, you know, they're always thinking about bodies and changing it. And I was like, no, I'm fine with my nipples. They're fine. Ugh. The Christopher Elisha. Oh, he's on. Yeah, well, you know, nips show up once in a while. So what do you got going on now? Now you're back home, real life, reality. Not doing any house projects right now.
No. Well,
the bathroom, right? We're gonna start a bathroom or something.
No, I don't know when we're gonna do that. My husband's gonna, because we're renewing our vows this year.
How long has it been? Long enough to need to renew it. That's all I need to know.
13. I was like, is it gonna be 13?
Hey, Trippy Liberty.
No way. What year is it?
2022. Wait, 2022. Yeah, that's right.
30.
I love it. That's how long we're not married, but we've been together 13 years. It's nice.
Yeah. Like I've always wanted to do that, but I wanted to have like a good reason to do it. And we bought the house. We went through a lot after my parents got dead.
After they died.
I was about to say got sick, but my dad was like always sick. And my mom just died. She had a heart attack. You know. But yeah, like we went through a lot in our marriage, and I always thought, I think vow renewals are really beautiful when they're done for the right reason, not like because somebody cheated or something.
Right.
Hi, dog. The dog's here.
Are you gonna have like a little ceremony or a party kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna have like a little ceremony in the backyard, and in the backyard, the place where we're renewing our vows is where my husband told me he loved me for the first time. So fucking cute.
That is sweet. Yeah, that I guess people do it like after they cheat on each other. My parents had a vow renewal at like, I forget, it was like 25. You know, it was because of a.
Yeah.
That is funny that people do that. And like, it's nice. It's more spiritual and just between like what marriage really is, between two people, not the fucking government and the license or whatever. You know, it's sweet to do that. I like it.
Yeah. And we're gonna make this stuff's giving me the hiccups. So we're gonna make it really fun. But I'm just like debating on what family I'm gonna invite, or if I'm gonna invite any of them. But Heck keeps telling me to invite my cousin, that he's gonna show up in his Black Guns Matter shirt. I'm
like, oh yeah, weren't you supposed to go to a family thing too, but you didn't want to, and did that already happen?
That I was supposed to go next week. They keep sending messages on Facebook, and I feel so bad because I'm gonna have to say no. I can't see my family. I can't. At least not. I don't want to see my sister. I want to see her.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I just feel really, really bad because it's my Aunt Alice and Uncle Dick. And they're just like the nicest people. They're like the cutest little old couple you've ever seen. Like they're the old couple that you're like, I wish more people were like that. I wish more marriages were like that. They're such a cute couple. But yeah, I'm not going. We're having people over that day. Hex is coming over. I'm having a couple other people over. So
Good. With your family that you're making. And not that you don't like everybody that's there, but some family just ain't good to be around. So
no. And even if my sister wasn't there, a lot of my family is really nosy, and they would be asking me like, "Why don't you talk to your sister? Or why don't you talk to your brother?" There's nobody's business, you know.
families are so like that, aren't they too? Sometimes like some families are so chill, but some are like, Jesus Christ, people like get a life.
Well, like my dad and his brother had a falling out, and it caused like a rift in the family, and it lasted like 25 years or something like that. So, especially my dad's side of the family is like they don't want to see that happen, you know, and I get it. Uh, but what my sister did was just it's it's I'll just say it's not your typical sibling bullshit. You know what I mean? It's not just,
It's a shitty
like
human be like something really bad, a human thing that was bad.
right. I mean, it wasn't like she wanted my mom's favorite pair of earrings and I wanted my mom's favorite pair of earrings and she just took them. You know what I mean? It's not like that. And the reason that I don't talk to my brothers is nothing like that. And yeah. And my other sister that lives in Vegas, she's just fucking stupid and doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Like she's been in Vegas so long. Like I was 10 when she left, so we just don't talk.
Right. Yeah, she's so much older. You grew up
Yeah.
without her, basically. She was like some cousin or aunt that you didn't really ever see.
Yeah. So we just don't talk. But I mean, it is hard because my kids don't get to see their cousins anymore. But I'm open with my daughter about it though. Like I talk very honestly with her about it. Um, and I tell her like I know it's hard for you not to see your cousins like you used to, but I'm very honest with her about the things that have happened, the things that she's mature enough to understand, so like she gets it, like she's still sad, but she's like, this wasn't good for my mom, and I saw how my mom was when they were constantly here, and I saw what it was doing to my mom, so she's she's old enough that she can see a difference in me when I'm not around them,
Right.
so
She gets
she,
it.
yeah, she sees a healthier mom, she sees a happier mom, you know I'm not like outside after they leave like puffing on cigarettes.
Oh yeah. Oh well, my family all moved to Colorado, so the only time I saw cousins once a year, maybe. So you live, and as adults, I've seen them a little bit more, because now you're adults and you can
Yeah,
travel and see each other, and it wasn't anything like I don't like some of my mom's siblings, but their kids are fine. And it's Italian, so there's literally 1.5 million cousins, but you survive. Like I would sometimes go back because some of them all still live close together, and I would see like they were bonded a little bit more, and I would be like, oh, but whatever, it's all good. Like you live, it is what it
yeah.
is.
And I don't want to go either because like most of my family's conservative, and like so I'm actually very conservative. I'm just not conservative like I live my life like in a conservative type of way, but I don't expect that of anybody else, and I really don't care. Like, but they care. They're the type of people that, you know, like I have an aunt and uncle, and they think that my cousin is gay because he moved to Florida.
Just because they're like sheltered and don't know, and
Yeah, and they like think that like they don't believe somebody could be born like that. They think it's something that is done to them. I don't really know either. I mean, I don't think there's a way to prove it. I just don't care.
Right.
You know what I like? What you choose to do with your life is what you choose to do with your life. I don't care. I'm not hurting kids, so I don't care. But yeah, they're very, very conservative. They're very pro cop. Oh my God, guess what I did? So my whole family is, for the most part, very pro cop. And the other night, I went to a party and I came home that night that you were on with Tactical, and I was really, really drunk. I was so drunk. I was doing shots and stuff. I went on Facebook, don't remember doing this, and posted something with about cops, and I'm like, never trust the police. And I don't remember doing it. And then the next day, it's like so and so likes your post. It popped up on my notifications. I'm like, but I haven't posted on Facebook in months. And I look and I was like, holy shit.
You dropped the fucking bomb.
Like, if any of my conservative family saw that, they were probably like, oh, I thought Alice was a Republican. And it's not that I try and like hide who I am. It's just so many people, if you don't like the left, they assume that you're on the right, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of my family like assumes I'm like a Trump supporter and stuff, and I'm not. Um, but yeah, I like put that up all caps.
Oh, damn, you went all in.
Yeah, like I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, like I never post that stuff. And then I was looking through my pictures and I'm like, oh, look at all these pictures I took. I didn't even remember.
Nice. It must have been a fun night then.
I don't get to, that's my old neighbors and my best friend that I was with. And I don't get to spend a lot of time with them. Their son just graduated high school. So we were out there and yeah, I did one shot. And after that one shot, it was
Story of our lives, right? No, that's interesting how you bring up you're kind of conservative the way you live, but like you don't force it on it. Like, what is so hard about that? What is so hard about living your life how you want to and not forcing it on others? Like,
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's why a lot of the like more trad conservatives still even like me on Twitter, because they know I'm like, hey, if you have kids, there are like obviously my lifestyle is my lifestyle because it's my lifestyle, right? And it's not like I didn't have kids, so I was just able to live different. But if I fucking had kids, shit would be different. And I think I would never tell anyone how to raise their kids, but I would be like, you know what? A mom and a dad, or at least two parents. There are things that are objectively true to me that are good for that type of thing, and it's not that I'm like,
Right.
but these people have to force it on people. Oh, especially from the conservative side too. They won't even like think for a minute that there's human issues and human behaviors beyond and yeah, but it's so easy for us to be like, yeah, cool. You're not hurting me. You're not hurting anybody. That's cool. Do your thing.
Yeah, I don't have any friends whose lifestyles like mine. Like I don't have any
Which is
girlfriends that are
good.
same. Yeah, none of my well, I only have two girlfriends and then you. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Um I mean there's a couple girls that I consider dear friends. I don't talk to them on a regular basis, but they're definitely people like if they called me, I'd be there for them. But yeah, none of them was like me. None of them were stay-at-home moms. Um, all my friends are divorced, if not just never been married. Um, yeah, I mean,
You're like,
I have
cool.
friends that,
Cool.
yeah, like do the swinging stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's my last beer. I'm gonna go.
Like before they get the creep vibes going. I promise if I'm around you, I will behave all the time. Don't worry. That's what I tell people because I'm so honest about myself, but I'm like, but I'm appropriate. Okay. I only do it at times when I'm not like a fucking creep. So,
Right.
I try to tell people that, hey, Colonel Angus. Yeah,
Well,
Colonel Angus is awesome too. Love you, Angus. You've probably heard him in
so
a space before.
Great Wolf Lodge has yoga time now. And I went down there and I saw the girl doing yoga. And I came back upstairs and I told Adam, I was like, we should tell Forest Mommy to apply at their Great Wolf Lodge. I was like, because
To teach.
I was
She was
like,
hot.
No, she was not hot.
Oh, I see.
She should not have been doing the yoga.
Yeah, it's not hard to find like a good-looking, charming yoga teacher.
Yeah, and it's basic yoga stuff that they do because it's just little kids that they're doing it with. It's just like a fun thing for the kids, and yeah, like they love it. But I was like, Forest Bobby should apply because there's the one in Colorado, and then I'm like, oh my God, Adam, we should go to the Great Wolf Lodge in Colorado. And he was like, yeah, you guys would get us kicked out.
Well, it's fine because the one in Colorado is only like 20 minutes or probably 25 minutes from the Forest house. So if we get kicked out, we'll just go back to my house.
I was looking to see what kind of stuff it had, but yeah, I don't
new.
even
I'm trying to think
remember.
when they built it. It's been built in the last like 5 years, I would say. Maybe it's 5 years old or so. I don't even know, but
Yeah, some of them are really cool. Some of them really suck. Like we have one that's closer to us, like 45 minutes from us, and it sucks. It's horrible. I'll never go back. I mean, unless you can get that room for like $80 a night, I would never go stay there again. There's
right.
no pool. The slides suck. The kiddie pools suck. It's not fun.
No,
But,
we don't know each other in real life yet. First one shot, but she knows Hex. Her and Hex have met up. Her and Hex live kind of by each other, but we will meet in real life. We will. I got to do an Ohio trip for sure. So at least to meet you and Hex, because how far apart are you guys?
Hex is like 10 minutes for me.
Okay.
15 minutes for me. He's not far from me at all. Yeah.
Good. Then I'll come and maybe I'll get we get a fun hotel room and just party. That's what we should do.
Because I think so he's coming over next weekend for fire. My husband was like, they talked about him coming over one night. My husband's like, listen, man, I can get you to my house on a Saturday, but I cannot get you home.
You can get one free trip because I'm gonna be fucked up that nighttime drive.
Yeah, so he was like, you can Uber, you can crash on my couch, you can pitch a tent, I don't care. Yeah. He's like, but I can't get, yeah. So, but yeah, next weekend it's gonna be one of my best friends that I've known since I was like 13. So him and Hex will get to meet, and he just like, I've talked to him a little bit about Twitter world. Like I don't, it's sometimes it's weird because you feel like you're living like two different lives. Like
people don't get it. They don't, if they're not on it, they don't get it. Any online thing.
Yeah, like when I first, because they were the ones who came over and watched the kids when we met Hex for the first time. When I first told him we were doing that, he was like, I can't believe you're going to do that. I'm like, either can I. I was like, look at me.
That's so funny, a white couple going to meet a black guy. That's so cliche. Oh, that's hilarious.
He was super easy to find though, because
he's fucking 1,000,000 feet tall.
Yeah, I don't know if my other friend's gonna be here, but he's 6'4", and I'm like, have I ever had Jack Frost donuts? Probably.
He says he's 2 hours south of you. He's in Ohio too. This guy.
Oh,
he's one of our biggest fans. Love we have two tall people. That'd be fun. It's just like I can't. I'm so like glad you got to meet Axis. I'm like, how is somebody that fucking tall and like can walk around? Like it's crazy, right? Like it's crazy to be that tall. Yeah. And he's killing it.
Yeah. I mean, I always feel short because I'm I'm just barely 5'4", so I always feel short. But our one friend, he's 6'4", and I'm like, if him and Hex are here at the same time, it'll be the first time that he won't be the tallest person here. Because for years, I don't think anybody has ever stepped through our door that's taller than him. But Hex is definitely going to be.
He'll stick out. Is he going to stick out? Although you said one of your girlfriend's like half black or something, right? Is she going to be there?
I don't know because they have her sister's 30th birthday party, which I felt bad about when I found out about it. But I was like, well, I already invited like a bunch of people to my house. Yeah, well, not a bunch of people, but Yeah,
There's overlap. Party overlap happens, and you just, the next one, right?
So I'll just have another fire, and hopefully she'll be here. But there's
Isn't it
nothing.
nice? Isn't it nice partying, having a party at your own house? Like, I know hosting and getting things ready can kind of be a little bit of a work, but then it's like you're at your own fucking house, so you can fucking party, like, and shit. As long as somebody's awake, so if you get like, if you gotta crawl in the bed, it's all good. It's your bed, like, that's
Yeah.
what I like. Not that you should plan to get that fucked up, but happens.
Well, I told Adam, I was like, what if Hex comes over to our house and he sees me like in my element and he's like, whoa, this bitch is really great.
I think he'll love it.
Because like when I'm at home, you're more comfortable, like we met up at a bar. I'm not really a bar type of person, it's not really my thing. So yeah, but when I'm at home and just in my element, yeah.
He'll love it. Hey, he's got to know how us white bitches are, right? Like, we're all fucking crazy. And he's been friends with me for a long time now. We've been doing our show for so long. So, and I'm like, he knows how fucking crazy I am. So,
I told him, I was like, I get kind of crazy when I'm at my house and I've had a couple drinks because I don't know. I just start to really feel the music and
oh yeah, and you got your like social vibes with your peeps, so you got like the good vibes going, and hell yeah.
yeah. And the other couple that's going to be here, they're really, really cool. I've known like the guy I've known since I was like 13 or 14, and then the girl I've known since she was 18 or 19. So I've known both of them for a long time, and then I think a couple of my husband's buddies are going to come over. I don't know how long I've known them.
It'll be a great time.
Yeah, they're all.
I'm gonna be bad and go get another beer. You want to hang on for a second? I'm terrible. Do you want to keep going? If you want to keep going.
Yeah, I'm gonna pee though. While you
okay, sorry everybody. Break.
Did you lock me in here?
No, that would be a fire hazard. Bubba. Cereal. You want cereal?
Did you get? I don't know who's still here. Did you hear me burp? I just burped so loud. I burped so loud a second ago. I wasn't sitting down yet. I just walked by and burped. Classy. We're classy here. I grabbed 2 beers too, just in case. You just never know with Alice and Mommy.
I grabbed the whole bottle of vodka.
That's what Tactical does too. However you watch him. Oh, did you see that? Were you on when? Well, you were probably fucking drunk. I posted a screenshot of it, but the new little baby, Charlotte, baby Charlotte. It's so white pilling and it's so adorable. Like how the kitty, like they took to parenting so. They're like 24 and like they're like fucking parent, like. But he was saying, Scales was saying he grew up. His mother did like childcare in the home and stuff. So he would help. Right. He grew up helping change diapers and shit like that. Like that was normal to him. And then with the newborn, he's up late all the time. So it's like, yeah, he's up. So he'll be in charge when she wakes up when he's up. You know, it's just like, and he's all holding her during the stream. And it's just like so
Oh, cute.
precious. It's so precious. And he's like, I'm like, you would look at this guy and he's like, it's just like, it's just been warming my heart the last couple weeks. Cause it's like, I love when people I love have kids and I see like they're good at it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what you do or who you are. Like it's all about. But at first, it's about keeping the damn thing alive, right? So like, they're so
It's
little
rough.
at first.
Yeah,
They're
my
tiny.
husband was good with kids too.
He what?
My husband was good with kids because he used to watch his cousin had kids. So when he was like 17, he was babysitting her kids. So yeah, like when my daughter was born, he was so good. He was the first one to change her diaper. He was amazing. He was a great labor coach too.
Good job,
And it was
Adam.
so hot.
It is like that's like who you want to fucking have kids, right? Yeah, first shot. That's the only reason you know me first shot is because it's tactical. But no, it's just precious because it's like I don't know, just the way the world has been. You know, like, and even the last couple of years, like the last 2 years, especially, I know there were people who wanted to have kids, but they're putting it off because of all this bullshit going on, right? Which I totally get that.
Right.
But then some people aren't, and I'm like, and then you see it, and I'm like, oh, and it's just like podcasting dad with a little tiny, like, oh, it just drives. I don't even like. I'm not the type of person where I like. There's very few babies I actually just want to hold. You know, I don't have that. You know, I love my own like relative babies and stuff, but like. I want to hold their baby so bad. And I'm like, why? I don't even know these people. But it's just funny how you just get to love people online and stuff, you know?
Right. Okay, come here. Kitty wants to say hi.
I heard it. What's this one's name?
Sweetie.
Oh, this is like a perfect gray. I love it.
This is our only girl. My daughter's cat. She thinks she's the most fabulous thing ever.
Aww. So like, yeah, that's cats. So like, yeah, I'm done. First
And
shot.
she, oh.
Well, that's how it is. Like, I feel like a lot of even my parents I know were broke as fuck with all four of us back in the day. You know, like it's hard, but
You know what pisses me off? Kind of off the subject, but kind of on the subject, but it pisses me off. So when we had my daughter, it was much harder than it is now. Like some of her Christmas presents we bought at Goodwill.
Oh, you should always do that anyways, even if you have money, in my opinion.
it was just, yeah, it was much harder with her. So now my husband gets really, really good bonuses at the end of the year. Like he gets 2 of them at the end of the year. So yeah, like we take some of it, we put it in the house, and you know we stocked up on groceries, shit like that. But yeah, I bought my kids like a lot of shit for Christmas, but it wasn't just like stupid shit. Like I got my daughter like a ton of art stuff. Got my son trucks and puzzles, just clothes, shit that they're gonna need. And with the homeschooling, my daughter doesn't have access to all the art stuff she would if she was in school. So we would just buy all that stuff for her. And like I see people who will be like, you shouldn't post your beautiful tree with all your presents online because what about people that couldn't afford it? So it's like, well, I feel for those families because I was one of those families. My parents were really poor at one point. Like all I ate was freaking spaghetti and hot dogs, and like that's all I ate. So yeah, like we worked our asses off to get where we are.
And it's not excessive. You're not being like excessive.
No, like I mean, it's just like I think people don't realize that a lot of people start off not poor, but like not.
You're just starting. You don't have a fucking portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was younger, my parents. I mean, we were never rich or anything like that, but we were comfortable, and then we ended up poor after my dad got sick and after they lost their business. Like, I joke with my husband.
Uh-oh, what happened? Did you spill?
No, it's a spider.
Oh. Okay. I was like, what the hell happened? But I get it. I just want you to spill your drink.
But yeah, like like we lived off of spaghetti and hot dogs, and we would have my friends' parents would bring us food because my dad was in the hospital all the time. My mom just like wasn't home, and it was hard to keep our house and everything. So
I feel like even okay, so you say you have you're young, you're gonna have a kid, even if the mom doesn't work, you can still do that cheap. You guess what? You might not get to go on vacation for a year or two. Guess what? You're not buying all your MLM bullshit for the mom. Like you can live cheap, and like even if you're broke, that's what I don't get about the world. Well, and social media has been a big part of it too. Like my whole I didn't even fucking go on a trip till like I was 30 because I was on my own for so like I couldn't afford it. I didn't go on like to Vegas till a man was able to pay for it, and then I went. Like it's just you don't have to do all that shit.
Well, I did do that shit.
Well, if you can afford it, great, right? But all these kids are crazy, and I'm like, I loved snowboarding and skiing. Do you know how many times in my 20s I got to do it? Because it's fucking expensive, So, I don't know. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I went on a 3-week trip and I stayed in Vegas, but I also stayed with my sister and had to pay for a room. Right. All the places like that we stayed on the way were like cheap little hotels and shit. But I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot doing that.
Yeah, it's good shit. It's good to do it, but I was like at my age or in my 20s, it was me and my ex, and I made enough money for us to live, and I didn't have a credit card, and I wasn't getting in debt, so I didn't get to do a lot of I didn't get to do all that stuff. And now you have these young kids right now, they're like, well, I'm 21, I should get to go to Europe and all that shit. And I'm like, who says? Like, first shot says I didn't become a diva till I was like 30 either. And that's why it works out good too.
We're not fancy. Like it sounds fancy, but I mean, we were staying in like nowhere towns, which is why I laugh so hard when people are like, Southerners aren't racist. I've been here, and I'm like, because you're not in the right. You go to the wrong.
Stay in certain parts of the town, you see that shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I have family from South Carolina, and they'll tell you, man, like you don't want to go by the actual rednecks. Like my one cousin said to me, he was like, if you showed up with your girlfriend, he's like, you'd both be dead. In
South Carolina, my parents just are like part-time living in South Carolina now, but I'm sure it's like not.
It's just like certain when you go to certain parts. Like I was in this place in Arkansas, and we were at the subway, and like all these people are ordering their food. It's just this tiny, tiny town, and I go to order my food, and I'm like, can I get a 6-inch turkey on white? And it was like a record. The whole place turned and looked at me like, where's this? Because they all got them beat at, like it was a really, and yeah, I went into a place in Texas, and I was like, I joked that it was their gas station, their supermarket, and their dining area or restaurant. And I walked in, and this old couple running that place looked at me like, you better get what you want to get and get the hell out of here.
And they were white?
Yeah.
But you weren't from around them parts. So.
Yeah, I mean, just, maybe if I was a black dude that was from around them parts, they'd be fine. But yeah, and I mean, a lot of my mom's side of the family is Southern and conservative Republican, and they're all racist. Every single one of them is racist. Like I remember growing up and my aunt like dropping the hard R's, and I would look at my mom, and my mom would just be like,
wouldn't call her out. That's like, yeah, it's just a whole different, like everything was just different, right? Like,
yeah, but my parents weren't like that at all. my parents, like, the rest of my family can be very, very racist, but my parents just weren't like that at all. Like, they would talk about, like, seeing that shit when they were younger, and they were like, it just never made sense to me to hate somebody simply
They
because of their
stopped the cycle. They stopped the
yeah,
cycle.
like, they were just never those type of people. They just didn't look at it that way. But, like, my whole family is like that. You know, I got some liberals in my family, but apparently they're racist too.
Well, a lot of the liberals are like, I feel like they are the fucking real racists, man. Like,
Oh
and you
yeah,
can't point it out, but like, or you can, and they don't get it. But like,
they don't. Yeah, they don't understand. I had a friend who was all like, "Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter," and I'm like, "You, you fucking freaked out because a black guy was gonna take me home. Like, my black friend was gonna drive me home, and she panicked and you can't go with him alone." And I'm like, he's my friend. She was like, are you sure you can trust him? And I was like, oh my God. And him and my other friend, they're both black, are standing there and they can hear this, but she's stupid and drunk. And I walked out. I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, I'm so sorry, you guys. Like, and they're like,
Black Lives Matter, though.
yeah, and yeah, she was gonna go to. They were having a Black Lives Matter event around here, and she was gonna go, and I'm like, Anna, you should go.
Just to cause some shit. I love it.
Yeah, and then my cousin, who's all like talking about how our whole family is racist, I'm like, excuse me, bitch. You fucking treat my black and Puerto Rican friends like they're the goddamn plague when you show up at my house. So just stop. Second of all, you threw the biggest Karen hissy fit because a black family got served before your kid at a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party. But I'm ignorant.
God. I know someone on Twitter was saying, because I've been helping with, or like, I like the Mises Caucus, and she was like, they're all racist. And I'm like, say it to my fucking face. Don't say it on your, I made a post. I was like, if you think mommy's a racist, come just say it to my face. Like, I don't care. You can be cruel to me. You can be mean. I can block you. I can not. You're going to call me a racist? And then when I called her out, then it was just crazy. You know, she's just a fucking idiot, crazy person. Like, I'm like, how am I? And then, you know, this more recent Mises event in Reno, they had Zuby and Maj was there, the Black Guns Matter. And I'm like, that bitch, I want to tell that bitch, like, go tell Maj he's racist. Go tell him to his fucking face he's racist for working with the Mises Caucus. Like, these people are idiot. And it really does come down to, I listen to a lot of the James Lindsay stuff and a lot of like Marxist ideology, all this shit. It's all about, you call something.
I started listening to him because of you.
Yeah, he's nice to listen to, right? And like one of his points always is, they will say something is racist until they control it. Like, that's the whole point of just saying, like, and I'm like, nobody's telling this girl she has to be in the Libertarian Party or involved at all. And she's like posting, I hate the Libertarian Party. And I'm like, fucking go do good shit then. Like, go do your own good shit so you don't have to talk about it. Just, and then I'm like, I get like, not that I get upset when people call me racist, but I'm like, no, like, there's tribal things I do once in a while, but I'm not fucking racist. And I fucking hate when people call me that, especially like,
it's so weird how it like,
and a whole group of people, this whole group of people, which is like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, they're all racist because you don't like them. Like, just say you don't like them. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm sure there are racist people
yes,
in there.
Every group, there are everybody of everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like,
just like I say, I have Republicans in my family that are racist, and I have liberals in my family that are racist, but I have people in my family who actually just aren't racist. Whether they're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, they're just not racist people. But yeah, it's so weird. Like, I was talking to my friend the one day, we were talking about abortion, and I said this, I went online and I said the exact same thing that she said. Like, but we both felt that way. So, like, I said the exact same thing. And here's my black and Puerto Rican friend who said the same thing earlier. And this person's like, get out of here with your white supremacist bullshit. And I'm like, nothing how does saying that, what did I just said, like, you shouldn't be able to go and get an abortion, like, full term. Like, no,
Yeah, we
that's
can have some standards here.
right. And yeah, one day somebody said to me, I said something about schooling, and I was like, well, my kids are homeschooled. And they're like, okay, well, I'm sure all your white friends, little white kids are just fine. And I'm just like,
they're racist for saying that. Like,
right. And here's the crazy thing. It took me a second, but I'm like thinking, and I'm like, I don't know any white kids in school. I don't. All the white kids that I know are one of my daughter's friends. And all the other white kids that I know are graduated. And all the younger kids that I know are black or black and Puerto Rican, like,
yeah, it's
but
so
I guess I
weird.
shouldn't want them to have a good education. I shouldn't want them to have a positive, safe environment to learn in.
Because your kids are white. That's why they shouldn't. Like, I know it's so like what. I feel like we're all, especially Hex. He was raised in the Nation of Islam, for fuck's sake, right? And like, like I always bring this up. There's that South Park episode where there's this flag, and it was a lynching on the flag. But the whole point of the episode was the kids are like, "What's wrong with it?" But the kids couldn't see the colors because they're like not racist. You know what I mean? So they're like, "Why is it?" They didn't get why it was bad, and I'm like, "That's us all now," because we're like, we see colors, we understand culture, we understand that, but it's like, I want us to be like that,
Yeah.
yeah, and then that bit, and so I I'm not very confrontational on Twitter ever, but I'm like, don't fucking call me a racist, okay? So I was like, bully me, call me I like went to her that post, and I was like, call me, bully me, tell me I'm a racist right now. And of course, her first thing is like, you're a boring white bitch. What do you think she is? I'm like, what do you look like, bitch? And so I said, yeah, I know I'm a boring white bitch, but how am I a fucking racist? And I just played into it, and then it turned to like everything she asked me had nothing to do with she didn't then I started feeling bad because I'm like, this girl is just lost and confused and just wants to fight, and like, don't call me a fucking I'm literally not. Like, there are tribal tendencies that all of us have at certain times for if I'm downtown Denver and if there's people walking towards me, I don't care if they're black, whatever, I might go to the other side, whatever color they fucking are, it's just, but they're like, to call me a fucking racist, I'm like, and she's still going. It's all because the Mises Caucus changed that in the I know you're like the Libertarian Party. There was so the Mises Caucus basically took over, and then there was something stupid. Oh, go ahead.
So Angela won.
Yeah.
And
All the Mises people won basically. So now we're actually gonna. I've said this a million times. I don't necessarily believe in the political process, but this is like a last ditch effort to use this organization that's already kind of set up, and it's people like me. We're all different. Like, you come to one of my house parties, there are some Mises people, and we're all fucking different. We just care about this one thing: the government and tyranny, right?
Right.
So there was something on like the books of like the libertarian planks and stuff, and it was talking about like how the whole libertarian idea is individualism, and we don't. But there was something that said like, oh, I condemn bigotry, which that's another fun word, right? Bigotry as irrational repugnant. So the Mises people took over and said, we want to take that out because it's like a virtue signal. We all know. And if someone is a bigot, they can be a bigot, and I can choose to not be around them, right? Like, that's the whole point of voluntary association. Well, and the wording they put in was just fine too. It was like literally about like, we don't believe in, just everybody's an individual, no matter what race, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's how they replaced it. And people are saying they're racist because they took out the I condemn bigot. It's like that. It's a virtue signal. You can't, and bigotry could be defined as anything. Like, as soon as all that shit happened out there in Reno, these people were like, oh, all the Mises Caucus are racist, xenophobes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's bigotry, bitch. You're being bigotry towards that group. That's why we got that shit out of there. And like, it's weird. Like, and then I'm like, this girl who was going on, she's not even in the party. She's like, why do you fucking care? Like, go fucking do something. Don't, like, it's just so bizarre to me that, like, I don't get that. Like, either there's shit I don't like, right? But if I don't like it, I just don't go do it or don't be a part of it. Like, and I do my own shit.
It's a funny concept.
It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, do you ever see the conservatives that'll post, I don't have any tattoos. Who else can say the same? And I'm always like, oh, well, good for you. How did you manage that all these years? Like, how
It's
did
just
you
so hard to
manage
not do it.
this? Yeah, like, it's like I looked at my husband. I'm like, I don't know how I managed to never get a tattoo either. I'm like, I should pat myself on the back. Like, what a great person I am. Like who fucking cares?
You don't have any either?
Mm-mm.
Me either. It's just, but
No.
that's just because I was like, I don't know what I would put on my body that I would want for
Yeah.
fucking ever. It's not like because I hate them or anything. It's just,
It's not my thing. My
Yeah.
best friend's covered in tattoos. I don't care. That's her thing, and it makes her happy, and it's something she enjoys doing. I don't.
it
I
doesn't
don't.
make you anything. Doesn't
Yeah,
like,
like I don't like a lot of people. They really like it and they really enjoy it, but that's not my thing. Kind of like when I get tickets to an 80s concert, she's like, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about, but have a great time.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah.
I've always never wanted to spend money on it either. I'm like, oh, it's so expensive.
Tattoos are expensive, especially if you want to make sure you get a good one. Like, yeah, it's really expensive. It's crazy expensive.
And apparently it feels good, which I'm like, I could see how that could, like, in certain places you get like a little high afterward from the pain. And I'm like, I could see that. So then you get addicted to it. Like, oh, Colonel's gonna get one.
I never even thought about it. I thought about getting my nipples pierced once. So.
I would do one nipple. I went with a friend who got both, and I'm like, there's no way I could do one and then another. I'm like, I'll do one. And I have a girlfriend who she's breastfed and everything, but she has small boobs like mine, and she kind of had one nipple that was like inny sometimes, and so then she got that one pierced just to kind of keep it out, There's no way I could do both though. Holy shit! I'm not good at pain. Let's go get our nipples pierced together when I come to Ohio. Let's do it.
I'm not doing it now. I have nasty freaking mommy boobies.
Whatever. At least you got boobies. My one friend, I went to get hers done.
Yeah.
She had a hard time getting them to heal and eventually took them out. But that's why I like piercings. So I'm like, well, at least you can get rid of a piercing if you don't like it. You can just get rid of it, right? So.
Yeah, I'm very hard. I have a hard time doing things.
Do you have ear pierced?
Yeah, just one hole in each ear though.
Okay, well, look how edgy I am. I have 2 holes in the lobes, and then on this ear, I have 2 holes up top. I have 6 holes, baby. I'm edgy as fuck. I never wear half of them and half of them, but
I thought about getting the second one, but my parents were really strict. So if you were a girl, you were only allowed to have one hole in each ear when you turned 18.
Oh, 18. We were 13. Damn, 18.
Yeah. You weren't allowed to have any tattoos as long as you lived under their roof.
Which that makes sense. If
you were a guy, you weren't allowed to have your ears pierced. Which my brother tried to hide when he came home from the military. And my sister, she was in college and she got a second hole in her ear and she was trying to hide it from my dad. And he saw it, and I was real little, and he was pissed. And what was another rule? We weren't allowed to move in with the opposite sex before we were married,
or on your own financially, at least, were they? I got yelled at it. I was on my fucking own, and my dad's like, "Why was your car parked over there overnight?" I'm like, "I'm on my own, pay my own bills. You don't get to fucking talk about that." Like,
yeah, my sister moved in with her boyfriend when they lived in Vegas. And I didn't know that my dad didn't know yet. And I said something about it and everybody was like, and my dad was so pissed. And then my other sister that lived here, she was about to get married to this dude. And I found out that my dad still didn't know he was living at their house. I'm like, you're fucking 30. She's like, yeah, but you know how. Yeah. But here was me. I turned 18 and I was like, fuck you. I'm moving in with my boyfriend.
When,
my
when you're
other
younger,
dad,
you get to observe all that shit and be like, okay, I'm going to do it how I want to do it. That's how I felt, at least.
so I moved out, but yeah, I never like got the tattoos. I never was like, I'm gonna go get my ears pierced or anything. I never did that. My sister from Vegas, she got a tattoo when she was like 40. It was like a tramp stamp on the back, and it was of a Gemini for like good twin, evil twin type thing because they're twins. And she showed my dad, and he was pissed. Like everybody thought he was gonna laugh, and I'm like, no, he's gonna be mad. Like, and he was pissed when she showed him, and we were outside talking about it. And my other sister's like, I mean, she has breast implants. Why does dad care that she has a tattoo? And I'm
but
like,
he didn't get mad about the breast implants?
he didn't know. He didn't know she had breast implants because my sister would wear like all those like crazy water bras and it's like she was always like that.
And he
so
hopefully wasn't looking at her boobs all the time.
Right. So he just figured she was just wearing another goofy bra, and it's not like she would come to her parents' house like.
Right, with something slutty on, putting it out there.
Yeah, so he never knew. Well, then he did find out, and he wasn't happy about that either. But yeah, I was telling somebody about that at that party, and he was like, "Oh my God, was your dad a priest?" And I about spit my beer out. I was like, "Dude, my dad was atheist." I was like, they were strict, man. That was a different time.
That would be me too. I mean, I would be certain things I'd be lax about because I know the way I grew up, super strict. You know, you feel like you know what to balance. You know what's important.
Yeah.
You know what actual strict things are important, right? And like, yeah, it's funny. My older sister, the one that's 9 years older than me, she was like the rebellious. She wasn't rebellious, super Christian and all that shit too. But so she was really smart. So she basically caught up to my sister and they're really close together. They're only like a year apart. And so like they got married in the same year and everything. But I remember she went and she got a tattoo when she was young, but it was something religious and it's like nothing, you know, and she's like not a she's a Christian psychologist right now and like business owner and shit. And I'm like, it's just funny what helps people feel like. For me, I was like, bye, I'm out, I'm paying my own bills. That's how I'm going to be independent. Right. And then like it was funny. And it came out later that they actually, so her and her husband, which I don't judge this at all now that I'm older because I was so young at the time, but they went and got Justice of the Peace married before the actual like big wedding that, you know, the family had and shit. And they didn't tell anybody for it. And I was like, but I think because they're Christian and you have to be married to have sex. And I think that's why they did it. And then, you know, like, it was just like, they didn't tell us for years though. It was hilarious. I'm like, it doesn't matter that. I mean, the parents still paid for a nice ass wedding, right? But like, and then there's me who's been living in sin for 20 years. Shit. But they have accepted it now. But there was like, you know, if I had gone with my ex to spend the night anywhere, we'd have to sleep separate and all that shit. And like now they don't care. Like they love Mr. Forrest Mummy. And like at a certain point, you just have to like get it, right? Like that's not what's a big deal. They know I'm taken care of. They know everything's fine. You know, it's not about, and then they know I'm so anti-government. They know it's not that I'm anti-marriage or anything. I'm anti-government marriage. So we'll probably do some, because my dad laid out the whole, well, before I'm on my deathbed, I need to see you guys get married. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't do that. So I'm like, well, maybe we'll do like some spiritual, because I get that, right? Like I'm committed anyways, but I'm like, yeah, it'd be like a vow renewal or, you know, it'd be along that line, right? So, but yeah, Jesus Christ.
If I did.
If you lived with someone?
No, if they didn't know when I actually got married.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, like,
I know, isn't that interesting? I was like, really, girlfriend?
like my sister, the one from Vegas, she was with her husband for like 11 years before they got married, but she wanted to get married. So that's kind of different when when you see your daughter wanting to be married to somebody and he's just like not, and it was a commitment thing. Like he didn't want to commit.
After 11 years though, come on.
But then eventually he like, you know, he was like, I do love you. I want to have kids with you. And yeah, they ended up getting married. But yeah, my grandma used to like pray to St. Jude. It was a saint of the hopeless that he would marry her one day and shit. But yeah, dude, when Adam and I were getting married, like 2 months before, I thought I was pregnant. And I was terrified because I was like, oh my God, if I'm pregnant, my mom's going to know. Like, I won't be drinking at the wedding, like if I'm sick or so, I'm like, they're going to know and I'm going to be in so much trouble. And everybody's like, you're 29 years old. Like,
You're adults.
yeah, they're like,
it's funny though, it affects you that much for so long.
Yeah, I think that's almost, I think that's something that we've lacked. I think there's a real lack of wanting to make your parents proud no matter how old you are. I see that in some of my, like, in my family, it's weird. Like, my first cousins are not close to my age. They're, my cousin closest to my age is like 50. And then, yeah, the rest of them are like, I mean, I have a first cousin that I think is like in her 80s now. I mean, it's very spaced out. So I have cousins that are second cousins, but they're closer to my age. And the way they treat their parents compared to the way I treat my parents, wow. Like, my one cousin will call his mom a fucking idiot, a fucking pussy. Like, dude.
Like, I didn't like I had a lot of hard times with my parents too, but like there is something where you just don't do that. Like, you just don't fucking do that, right? Like, especially if they're like helping you and shit.
Yeah, I went through a lot with my mom. My mom and I went through a lot together. Then my mom was like, she was my best friend, you know? But yeah, I would never talk to my parents like that.
First, I can't be a sister wife first shot, but I can come over and me and her can drink during the day and send you pictures maybe if you're thinking. I'm terrible. I'm sorry, everybody. Can't believe everybody talks to me. I'm innocent.
These are so good. And once you get closer to the actual lemon, it's even better. And you know what? I don't feel as guilty as when I'm slamming them beers.
Yeah, vodka is much better than beers. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. And it's the lemonade that I'm using. It's a low calorie lemonade. And I watered it down since I have the real lemons in there.
And ice in there too, right?
I do. So it's like I'm gaining no weight and I just keep drinking and drinking.
It's fine. I've been drinking so much the last 2 years and I haven't gained weight at all. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep drinking.
Yeah. Mine is from drinking pop. It is.
Yeah, the sugar.
Yeah, because I quit drinking pop when I was like,
I love that you say pop. I'm a pop too. I pop. We're poppers. Everyone gets mad. I'm like, it's pop. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I quit drinking it for years and years and years, and like I would just drink a pop like as a treat, like maybe with your pizza or something like that. I'd have a pop. Or like if you went to the fair, maybe get a pop there. But yeah, I started drinking pop all the time again regularly when I moved in with my dad, and I'm just like, oh my God. But I haven't been drinking pop again.
What's your favorite pop?
Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah, that's what I have that for a treat. And that's what I start, like, once I start drinking beer, then you start, I do understand this is why I feel like people drink pop, because I was real good about not drinking pop for a long time. And I was like, the bubbles, you just start to crave the bubbles a little bit. Yeah. So I'll have a Dr. Pepper once in a while and a Sprite. I'll have a Sprite once in a while too, because it's like, whatever, but I don't drink it a lot. But Mr. Forrest Martin drinks too much. It's just something about it, right? Oh, I really love, you should try these. It's that San Pellegrino brand, which makes the sparkling water. And they have this thing called limonada. So it's kind of, all these seltzers they have, which are kind of gross. I don't like the seltzers. And then it's a seltzer, but it's lemon and it actually has sugar. So it basically tastes like sparkling lemonade. And it's so good with vodka. It is so good with vodka. And it's not even like, and they have a couple flavors. They have like a blood orange flavor, a lemon mint flavor. Like, It's the best mixer ever.
I'm gonna have to try that. You know what? I thought I was gonna be kind of bummed having to be in here instead of the breezeway, but I kind of like having nice swirly chairs.
Are you? Oh, you're not in the breezeway right now. You're in like what
No.
office? An office or den?
Yeah, I'm in my classroom. This is my teacher's desk.
Oh, you're like a hot teacher, man. Look at you. So you like your wait. You said you thought you'd be bummed. Why can't you be in the breezeway, or did you just choose to be in here?
So one, it's a mess. Two, it gets pretty hot in there this time of year.
True.
And then three, I threw a bag of garbage in there. Totally didn't realize it.
It's ripe.
Yeah, it's really stinks. But yeah, it gets really hot in there this time of year, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to.
First, Adam locked you in there.
He did. No, he really did. There's a lock on the outside of this door. And I went to open it when I went to the bathroom. And I'm like, did you lock me in here?
Oh, love him. God bless him.
So yeah, it was because the dog kept pushing the door open. And this door is broke.
Right, you have to lock it.
Yeah, like every door in this house is broke. My poor daughter, she opened her closet door today. It fell off.
In her new room.
I mean, thank God those doors weren't new, but I was still kind of pissed because I'm like, I painted that fucking door and I put these pretty new doorknobs on it. But yeah, fuckers just fell right off. It's because of my brothers. My brothers did a lot of work on this house and they just.
Hey, I have Mr. Forstman is a general contractor, so you know the whole cobbler's kit. You know the cobbler's kids don't have good shoes. That whole thing,
right?
I mean, that's how this house is. I before I moved in, I was like, "You're building this shit before I even move in with all this, this stuff." And that was 2010. That got done, thank God. But and it's the little shit where you're like, "Yeah, it would be nice if that little piece of trim was in it." But then it's also like, I don't give a fuck. You know, it's just,
yeah,
it does.
Yeah, like my husband got pissed because I got these shelves and they were a real pain in the ass to put in because you have to like go under to drill them in or something.
Yeah, so they're like floating, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, don't ever order these kind of shelves again. And I'm like, well, that's going to be a problem.
First shout, where'd you send the email? Sorry, go on.
Right here, like above this, I want to put more shelves.
But you need the studs to attach it to and shit, right?
So I don't know, but there's a lot of shit in this room. A lot of shit.
That's a teacher's room.
Oh yeah, and like so when I first did it, my daughter came in and like I had put my desk together and everything, and I have the desk that my dad gave to me. My dad's old desk is in here too. So I worked on it for like 2 days, putting everything together and like printing up stuff that I wanted to hang up and just doing everything to it. So my daughter comes in, she's like, "Oh my God, Mom, it looks like a real teacher's desk." And then she's looking, she's like, "Well, except for all those memes, my teachers wouldn't put up memes like that." They have like Ron Paul memes and stuff like that. Oh, you know what my daughter says to me the one day? She's like, "Mom, I found Forest Mommy's channel." And I was like,
on Twitter or on YouTube?
On YouTube. So I was like, "Oh yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, she has a lot of videos." And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, don't watch any of those live streams. Those are for adults." And she's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't watch any of them because they would probably be boring."
She's right though. Like, I mean, technically right.
Yeah. I was like, me talking about politics, it's so boring. She like she told me the one day and she was all like, "Mom, I don't want you to be upset." She said like we would have like mother-daughter days and we would go to get food and stuff together. She's so cute. She loves to go to like the little Asian places in the mall. So we get like a bunch of food and eat and stuff. She's like, "I don't want you to be upset, Mom, but I really don't like politics." And I was just like,
I get it. Like, yeah, fuck politics. I wish I didn't have to fucking think about politics now, but
right. Yeah.
They put it upon because I did it for so long, and I should have been paying more attention and
Yeah,
whatever.
it could be it was kind of bad with me. But yeah, she was like I think Ben Shapiro's kind of funny sometimes, and who
He's
do
not
you,
always right. He's not always right.
yeah, I can't remember who she said was boring. I want to say it was Dave Smith.
Or Jordan Peterson or one of those people.
Yeah, oh man, if I'm listening to Jordan Peterson, she's out of there. She likes Maj. She'll watch like Maj's stuff. Um, I'll have now like because she's interested in him, like I'll just have her watch his stuff just to get her thinking, like because he says like such wild stuff sometimes, and
And he
she's
comes from a different background, being black
yeah,
and with guns and shit.
yeah. So like I'll just show her like his videos and stuff, and she finds that stuff interesting. But yeah, I used to watch Steven Crowder a little bit more, but I haven't really watched him since that other dude is on there because he's fucking boring.
Some people are annoying. I used to watch Timcast a lot, but now they have this one guy on. I used to love Luke that was on it, but now they have this other guy, and his voice, his voice is annoying, and just he reminds me of like my brother, and just these like I get you don't like certain things, but just I don't watch it as much anymore because I don't like it. But that's fine because there's plenty to fucking watch.
No, and I think like I'm able to look at people like that and to see the value in what they do, that they're reaching different people. I think it's cool that the Daily Wire's making movies and stuff like that. I think that's important. I think conservatives have ignored that for a long time, and they alienated a lot of people because of it, because they had this like, don't listen to this music and don't listen to that. And they just took no interest in entertainment. And it's like, well, young people like to be entertained, you know what I mean? But it doesn't always have to be crap. One of my favorite movies when I was younger was Good Will Hunting. I don't think that's like a trashy movie.
Right.
I think
but they say fuck a lot. Oh my God.
Yeah. But I mean, it had value to it. So I think it's important for like Ben Shapiro to do stuff like that, or like Eric July.
The more people we can hear and listen to, the better. That's why the whole silencing shit, which that's what the Libertarian Party was like trying to do some of that shit. The woke people who are in charge. It's like, no, that is literally the opposite of what I want to hear what people have to say so I can make a choice to listen to them or not, or whatever. And then, especially what we were saying, like with the conservative people being like, it was always a lot about their own self-control. They can't control themselves, so then they have to control everybody, right? Like, I know everybody has an opinion on porn and shit. I don't like telling people what to care about porn, but I'm like, I don't have a problem with porn. Like,
Yeah,
but there are people who do, and then there's people who do and they don't do anything about it, right? But then there's people who know they can't handle it and they're like, no, you shouldn't do it either. Like it's a whole and that's how some of the track conservative, they're not really libertarians anymore, but like they were cheating on people, they got divorced and blah blah blah, and I'm like, you ain't that fucking trad, honey. Like, stop telling other people how to live when your own life was a mess too.
Yeah, I don't tell people how to live, and it's something
even if they're doing something shitty, if it's only hurting them, then it's like, you know what, learn your lessons.
The only time like I'll be like, maybe you should consider something different is if you have kids. Like that's the only time, because I do very, very much believe that, kids really, really need to have a stable environment growing up. And like one thing I always said about my parents is man, like my life was fucked up, like fucked up. But if I didn't have my parents and their marriage being as stable as it was, I would have been even more fucked up. But they gave me like a foundation to stand on. And my parents weren't the types that like they love their kids, but they weren't these like, if you notice like how people are
helicopter parents and shit.
Yeah, like my kids, but our kids come first. And it's like, if you can have more than one kid, then you should be able to put more than one person first in your life. Like there's times where, of course, our kid's going to come first, but there's times where, my husband's going to come first. When my dad got really sick, do you think my mom was worried about, like, if I had the right snack at 4 o'clock, you know what I mean? She's
Right.
like, there's like these parents now that are like, well, Timmy, he has to have this every day at this time. And if he does it, it boggles my mind.
I couldn't do, but you also are like, you have a personality and you know that you have your own life as well. But like, what's important with the kids and what's going to matter, right? My sister just moved to South Carolina to be closer to her kids, and they're like in college in 22 or so, like, which I get, especially after COVID. I think everybody's just crazy after COVID, right? So I get she wants to be closer to them because my nephew moved to Atlanta. My niece is in college in like North Carolina, but I'm like, still, like, it's just like, you're an empty nester. Why would you want to move closer to them? But it's her life. But I wouldn't fucking do that. But I would be strict, and and I feel like the foundation of a kid when you're raising them up, that's super fucking important, right? Like, that's why I feel like some parents, like, because I got my ass beat all the fucking time, and I wasn't even bad. They were weird about that shit. But I'm like, if I had a kid, yeah, I understand that corporal punishment is not right sometimes, but I'm like, but when they're tiny and they don't understand shit, if you can like give them a little consequence or whatever, right? And then you hope that then they make better choices. Like, that's the whole fucking thing, right? I don't know. I'm an expert because I've nannied before, so I'm an expert.
my parents didn't hit me, but they hit my brothers and sisters.
But so you did. And you're the baby.
Yeah. Well, they stopped giving the belt, I think, with my brother, and I think I don't know, because I never really thought about this stuff. And then my parents died, and it was like one of those things like, I never thought to ask about it. And now I'm like, motherfucker, what happened that this changed?
Retired by the time they got to you, probably.
So my grandfather, he was a terrible person. So I think my dad started to see that all of the girls in my family were ending up in abusive relationships. So he was kind of like, maybe like this isn't the best.
There's something to
but my dad gave me an ass beating when I was like 12. His MS was starting to get bad. They had put him on Prozac. Prozac was bad. Ended up off the Prozac.
He wasn't like, his mentality was different at that point.
Yeah. And yeah, Prozac, I mean, in stuff like MS is going to cause a severe depression, and I don't recommend Prozac at all. Like, there's, and always, if I will always encourage somebody, if you're going to be on an antidepressant, then you need to be in counseling too. Just plain and simple. Like, you can't just be like,
and doing all the other stuff, going for a walk, and if you can, right? Like, all that shit.
So I mouthed off to my mom like really, really bad. And my mom was just like, get up, like told me to go upstairs, and I went upstairs, and my dad came up the steps, and it took him like 20 minutes to get up the steps. My house was so bad. And oh my God, man, he beat my ass so bad. And then he ended up apologizing to me for it. But looking back, I'm like, you know what? Like, I get part of it was the Prozac, and I get he was like, that wasn't spanking a kid. That was just losing my shit on my kid, But in a way, I look back and I'm like, I that felt like that was his way of being like, I'm not going to be able to defend my wife from my daughter who's about to be a teenager, and I think that was just his way. But my mom, when I was a teenager and I was mouth off in the car, she would pat me in the mouth, like, and it hurt so bad. Like, so bad. And that's why sometimes my husband and I have talked about it. I don't really spank my kids, but I'm not going to lie. Yes, I have spanked my son. My son is.
Well, what do you, especially when they're young, how do you, and logic isn't formed. So it's like, how do you, I hate that a parent has to hurt you, but it's like, also, how do you teach that, like.
I'll say this, the spanking did no good either. Like, it was just.
It just, whenever we got the wooden spoons. And I wasn't even bad. I was fucking sheltered out in the middle of nowhere. I wasn't doing anything bad, you know? Like,
I was bad.
which
I was smoking cigarettes.
that's what made me so mad. And then as I got older, and my mom would have these weird episodes, and I'm like, okay, this is something else. But like, I feel like when you have a toddler or whatever, and they're like doing something that will actually hurt them, like there is something to hurting them in a different way, right? To teach them you'll get hurt if you do that. I don't know. Like that's another reason I don't want kids too, because I'm like, I can't, like, I'd want to beat their asses. And I can't.
It takes a lot of control. But like I think my mom was right in popping me in the mouth when I was a teenager, because like I said, like I didn't when I grew up, I didn't talk to my parents the way I noticed a lot of other kids in my family would. And a lot of people may not think it's a big deal, but I think it's a big deal. You know, like one of my cousins, you know, she would go to her mom with family functions, you know, and she was 20 and, you know, she's like, I gotta go. We need to go. Come on, let's go. My mom would be like, no.
Well, in real life, if you say some bullshit to someone, they might pop you in the fucking mouth. Like, that's
right. I don't think a lot of kids like understand like respecting their parents, because I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Like I watched my mom and dad go through so much shit, you know, like with my dad being sick. I mean, it was a fucking lot. And as an adult, you know, I look at my parents and I'm like, wow, like not that much younger than my mom when my dad got sick. You know, and she give up everything. You know, like they didn't get to have sex anymore. You know, they didn't get to go on vacation
and she
anymore.
stayed with them the whole time till the very end.
She stayed with him, loyal, took care of him. That was her man, like, you know, and that was his woman. And that's all there was to it. That's why, like, I don't know if you saw it, there was this guy who said, if you're living with your significant other and you're not having sex twice a day, then you shouldn't be together. And a lot of people were like, tell me you don't have kids, or tell me you know what I mean? It's like,
life isn't that simple, honey.
And
sexuality isn't that simple either. Like in each person,
and I do think sex is important. I do, you know, like I'm still attracted to my husband. I still want to be with my husband. Like since I've been with him, I've never been wanted to be with anybody else, like unless like you count like Dirk Bentley or you know what I mean?
There's a lot of cliche stuff about that. I'll tell you offline sometime, but yeah, there's like people, you can't fucking say that shit about everybody. You know, like you can't put that on everybody, because everybody's fucking and there's medical and health issues and whatever. Like
with my dad, you know, I mean, I'm sure they enjoyed it up until they could, you know. I mean, I know.
And sorry, I'm gonna say this really quick because I'm to it. A lot, you know, the whole cliche is that the women doesn't want it anymore. It's a lot of times the man too. Just saying. I have so many people who message me and talk to me, and I'm like, I get it. It's humans. We're humans, you know.
Well, I mean, people get tired. You know, people hurt their back.
Or they work a physical labor job, you know, and
with a hurt back.
Every time. You know what's funny? Mr. Frost, he hasn't been sick. I've gotten like kind of sick. I've had 2 days during this whole COVID bullshit where I felt I was fighting something. And he's 54 and he hasn't been sick at all. And he was working the whole time. Life is just funny like that.
We're pretty sure my husband had it.
Oh, I think I had it too, but I just didn't get like sick.
Yeah,
I didn't test. He didn't test then.
Well, no, they weren't testing for it then.
I still won't fucking test for it. I still will never fucking go test for it. I haven't done a test. Fuck that shit. If I ever had a cold in my life before COVID, I had a fucking cold and I did what I do to feel better or not. You know, like, why is it different?
Yeah. The only time I've gone to the doctor for
strep tests are different.
Is when I just could not breathe and I was not getting better. and I knew it was a sinus infection. Like it's not getting better.
Antibiotics would help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another time I had bronchitis when I was sick with my son, and that was the only way that I could get those like breathing treatments.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
they
The
have.
nebulizer is a nebulizer.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So I went in and, like if that would have happened when I wasn't pregnant, I was just taking a bunch of over the counter drugs or
Well, when
whatever.
you're really sick, you know when you need help, right? Like we
Yeah.
live in modern medicine, but now everybody's all confused. Like all these people were going to the drive-up testing things and they weren't even sick. They weren't even fucking sick.
Oh, dear. It's like, and the people that are actually sick are now getting people that weren't even sick to begin with. Now they're getting sick because you all gathered together.
Yeah, that's what I don't get about the whole like with that drive up testing shit. I'm like, okay, every time one of those testers had tested someone in their car and it was positive, why didn't they have to go fucking quarantine like everybody else did if someone in their job was sick? Like it was so messed up from the very fucking beginning and it didn't make any fucking sense. And then it's just, I mean, we are at a time where a lot of people don't know their bodies. They're all on all these drugs and prescriptions. And like, that's was part of it, like I'm like, have you never had a fucking cold before? I understand that. I mean, my parents caught COVID or like in October 2020, and it was like a flu for them. It was rough. They didn't have to go to the hospital, and my mom's not healthy by any means, but they pulled through. It was fine, and it's like my parents would do church sit with kids all the time, and they would get sick once in a while. Like it's normal. My fucking grandparents died from like catching a cold and then getting pneumonia, and I never blamed anybody for that. That's just like that's life, right? And now how did they? I think it's because of Facebook, but I'm like, how did they scare so many fucking people about a cold?
Isn't it crazy? The wild part to me is like, so like a lot of people will be like, when did you know it was bullshit? And like, I always knew it was bullshit.
Right away.
Like,
right
yeah,
away.
from like the day it happened. Like
15 days to slow this spread. Like,
yeah, like I was almost trying to convince myself, like Alice, you must be wrong. Like even, I mean, like your whole family, like but me and Adam were like, this is so fucking weird, right? And it was like 2 weeks in, or no, it was probably like 3 or 4 weeks in, because it was kind of warm out. We were having our first fire of the year, and me and my girlfriend were talking, and I'm like, dude, I think this is gonna get bad. And she was like, you think COVID's gonna get bad? And I said, no, like I think people are gonna die because of these restrictions. I said, like the nursing home. I'm like, I don't think that's good what they're doing. I'm like, I think it's gonna have the opposite effect. And sure as shit, all these fucking people in nursing homes are fucking dying.
And they put
You know?
sick people back in a couple states. They purposely put them back in. Yeah, it's like.
And then that might be another problem with our culture. Like, listen, I get not everybody can take care of a parent. I get it. It was very, very difficult to take care of my dad. It was very difficult to uproot my family and take care of my dad. Despite what my
But it was
siblings,
the best way to do it. It was the best thing.
Yeah, he was my dad. He did everything for me. Him and my mom were everything to me. But like my mom put my grandma in a nursing home eventually. But mind you, my grandmother lived to be 99 years old. And my mom wasn't just trying to take care of her, she was taking care of my dad too. And my grandma just got to the point where like if she would get a cold or something, like it was just bad.
That's normal. That's like
yeah,
right. Like
so my mom put her in a nursing home right up the street from us so that she could keep an eye on her. And like some of the people at the nursing home loved her, and some of the people at the nursing home didn't like her because my mom was up there, like in their shit. And Adam and I talk about it all the time. I was like, man, if that COVID shit happened, my mom would have pulled my grandma out of that nursing.
A lot of people did end up. So way long before, I mean, this was like 2012, 2013. I worked in elder care. I worked in a memory care facility and an assisted facility, and it was fun. I did activities, so we would do chair exercise. It was a great job for me, and it was like, because they don't pay those people well, so it worked out great in my situation.
Those are one of my favorite people at my grandma's nursing
The
home.
activity, yeah, like we had a blast. Like it was so fun. Like I'm like, I would just go volunteer and do it now. But there were so many people there. Their families never fucking visited. Their families never came in. Even on Christmas, even on the holidays, their families weren't there, right? And then those same people who wouldn't visit their grandparents were the ones who were freaking out of COVID and shit. And I'm like, fuck you.
Mhm.
Like, fuck you. You're not like, yeah, it made me mad. And I have friends who had, there was a lot of neglect can happen a lot in those kind of facilities anyways, right?
Right.
And then COVID happened and all this bullshit, and they were, everything was, and so I had a couple of friends pull their parents out, moved them into their house, which I was like, thank God. And I have one girlfriend, well, she was on a board with me, we're not like girlfriends, and she was like, thank God I did that. And her mom died at home eventually, and she was like, but that's fine, that's what's better, I thought.
Yeah.
And then instead of getting ignored by somebody who's getting paid $11 an hour who doesn't give a fuck, really,
Yeah, well, I mean, some of them do, but there's a lot of them that don't. I mean, my grandma,
it's a job.
there was like some really nice people. Like when my grandma was dying, one lady would go in her room at night, like after all of us would leave, and she would sit with her and like do like all
Was she
these
hospice? Was she more of a hospice person, or she
No,
just
she was
worked at the
like
home?
Yeah, she was just like the night nurse lady, and she really loved my grandma. It was funny too because she was she was a black lady, and her and my grandma were both Catholic. So like she would always make sure my grandma like had certain things. She knew these things were important to my grandma, like her rosary, stuff like that. So she would like do like Catholic prayers with my grandma, and then when my grandma was dying and she was just like asleep most of the time, she would go in there at night and pray with her and stuff. And so one day, like my whole family's in there, and my cousin's husband, like mind you, these people like I never seen them before, and so my grandma started to like get bad. So I don't know if she thought she was gonna get me, but like none of the grandkids got money. None of them. Like it was only the kids that got money when my grandma died. But yeah, like I don't know. But her and her racist husband were like saying some serious shit, and I like just went and shut the door, and I'm just like, oh my God, like how fucking ignorant can you be? Like there's freaking black people working here, taking care of our grandmother, the one that you wanted like nothing to do with up until a few months ago, and now all of a sudden you're up in here and like saying racist ass crap. It's like, go take yourself back to your Kentucky nowhere place that you like, because that's where that part of the family's from. Some of them are from Kentucky.
I hate when they have to do that, when they have to interject. It's like, do you not have a personality, so you just have to interject racism? Like, is that the thing? Like, is that what they do? Like,
yeah, like I was so mad. Like he was like hard R, and oh my God.
What now? Spider again?
No, I didn't realize the fucking cat was still in here, and she just sneezed and scared the shit out of me. He's like passed out in this little chair. Yeah, she's so cute.
Hey, Cass.
She's like,
no, that's like, I'm so excited. So now that my parents have kind of figured shit out, and we're taking over the Colorado house, and then they're living part-time, like my parents are always going to be with one of us now. And they can still move around right now and drive and whatever. So it's great. And then they'll live with one of us at some point. My dad made me his medical POA. And I'm like, well, why'd you move, honey? But they'll be back. So like,
are they like old?
No,
like,
they're 70. What year is it? 71 and 72, I think. But my mother's never been, and my mother's never been healthy at all. My dad always took care of her, like after her surgeries and shit all the time. Well, now she has 2 fake hips, 2 fake knees. Like she can move around still, but she's, limited, right? And has been for a long time. And he took care of her. Well, now he needed a surgery, right? And it's like, she can't like move him, like there's just,
yeah.
but luckily they had the surgery out in South Carolina, and they're living, the house are in South Carolina, so my sister and her husband and my niece are living there with them. So that's good. And then when they come back to Colorado, they'll be living with us in the forest house. Like that's how I want it though. Like, and I'm like, I don't want to pay some fucking facility if we don't have to. So like, we're gonna redo the basement and make it all like old people perfect. And because why? Like, and I was saying this earlier. Like, it's funny how like we all moved out early. We want to move out, and even in my heart, when people stay home and if they're helping, especially if you're helping with the family business, then stay living at home. Like, it's just different, right? Like, that's fine. And now I'm like, yeah, especially when they're older, they need to be around family all the time, So like, I'm excited that that's happening and that they'll be good for it. So
Yeah, my mom got around real well until she did it.
that's gonna be me too. I'm like, how am I dying every night? Some of these nights, like, why am I waking up every night, every morning? No, just kidding.
Yeah, like what's so funny about my mom and dad is I say like they both died the way they lived. Like my mom, it was just boom, I'm out, I gotta go. I don't care that like
There's a heart attack, you said?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she was just out. I've never seen my mom sick before that. I've never seen my mom in a hospital bed. The only time I saw my mom in a hospital bed was when she was already dead. So it was the only time I saw her like that. And it was complete fucking chaos when she died. Like just complete chaos. I mean,
because heart attacks are crazy because it's like,
well, yeah, and it's like everybody expected my dad to die before my mom. That's what everybody expected. My dad was so sick. It was telling us for 20 years my dad was going to die. That's another reason I don't listen to these fucking experts that, like my dad had the best doctor, like one of the best doctors on, it was his head doctor. And he told my dad, you have to chop your foot off or you're going to die. My mom was like, well, screw you. And she found a different doctor and they operated on his leg and he didn't die. And when he did die, he had his leg intact. But yeah, like, there was like no funeral home, like none of that. Like my mom had life insurance and everything because she worked through the school. So she had like all that and everything, but like, yeah, it was just wild. And then we're like, oh my God, like how are we going to take care of dad? Like how are we going to do this? And my husband and I offered to move in at first, and my dad was like, no, I'm okay. And my brother was here at the time.
You're not. You're okay. You have MMS for 20 years. You're not okay.
Yeah, and I mean, he was like, I don't know if he'll be able to see it. I mean, he was like really sick. Can you see him?
Yeah. MS is fucked, man.
Yeah.
Is that your wedding picture? Is that you in your wedding dress?
Yeah. Oh, wait, there we go.
Oh, you got married in a white wedding dress, didn't you? Mm-hmm. We all know the truth about it. I don't care. I always love that. I'm like, who gives a shit?
So yeah, I mean, he was like really bad, like he didn't move well at all in that.
These human bodies fucking break the fuck down sometimes.
Yeah. So it was just like total chaos when he died, or when my mom died, and then when my dad died, like
how much after your mom did your dad die?
Almost 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were so surprised too. And
Isn't that funny how the human body will still like? Don't you see these fucking like people on the streets and shit that they're just like not healthy and their bodies are still kicking, right? Like,
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think my dad stuck around a little bit because I got pregnant with my son after my mom. And I had a really, really hard time with it because everybody would just be like, well, you should just be happy you're having a baby. I'm like, fuck you. My mom hasn't even been gone for a year. And you all had your parents there for you while your kids were growing up. My daughter is still young. She's devastated over losing my mom. But it's totally cool. I'm fine. But my dad got it,
But maybe mentally he knew you were pregnant. Like, it's a mental thing too, probably, because his mind was probably somewhat okay, other than drugs or other than like Prozac.
Yeah. Like my dad's mind was It was very much there. It was.
Because that's
it
how
was,
I am too. I'm like, fuck this world. But when you have your mind set on things, it kind of helps you keep going, even if you're sick.
Yeah. So he made it for like another 3 years, and yeah, I mean he died at night, and so I thought that was funny because I knew my dad wouldn't want to be taken out of here in a body bag and like all the neighbors be able to see it. You know what I mean? Like he would have wanted it the way it was, like quiet, you know.
In his
Um
sleep, he was just sleeping.
yeah, he was asleep. My kids were in the room, me and the kids were in the room with him, and I was like I don't remember what went through my head, but I remember just looking at my kids and being like, okay, let's give Papa some privacy. So I went upstairs and the kids were down here with my sister. And my sister called Adam on his phone, and we're like,
In the
what
same
the
house.
fuck? In the same house. She's like, I don't think he's breathing anymore. You need to come downstairs. So we go downstairs, and Adam and I are like leaning over him. Adam's like, no, he's breathing. I'm like, no. So we're looking.
I know, because yeah, like you're not a, you don't know.
And the funniest part is the night before I said to my sister, I'm like, because we kept getting like the giggles really bad. We were tired, anxiety, all that, and you get this thing. I can't, it's like called like death anticipation or something like that. Like you're like, okay, like hurry up and die. Like, and I know that sounds terrible, but it's something that happens to people when they're just sitting there watching somebody die. Like it gets very like, I don't want to say goodbye to them, but you don't want to watch them like that anymore either.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm
you
like,
watched him suffer for so long.
yeah, since I was 11 years old, and I was 38 when he died, so yeah, almost 30 years I watched my dad suffer. So I'm like, great. What if when dad dies, we just start laughing? She's like, oh my God, we're not going to laugh when dad dies. Yeah, we were totally fucking laughing. Like, I like opened his shirt and I'm like, Daddy? And I looked and I'm like, I don't think he's breathing. And like, yeah, like we're like laughing and stuff. But you know what? That's what my dad would have wanted. He would have thought that was hilarious. But then, like, yeah, like we realized, like,
Yeah,
okay.
you're sad still, obviously, but
Yeah, but like, I don't think people who have never been through it before, or maybe who have only been through it once, or maybe you just come from, like, my parents were very much like death is a part of life. My
it
mom would,
happens.
my mom would tell us all the time, death is a part of life. She's like, it's one of the hardest parts, but it's a part of life. And you don't learn to accept it, you're not going to enjoy life. You will be miserable for the rest of your life. So,
And if you're scared of that your whole life, you're not going to live.
yeah, if you live your whole life being scared to die or being scared to lose somebody or being depressed because you did lose somebody, like that's a lot. That's a big part. Like you're never going to enjoy life. So my parents were just very funny about that stuff. But yeah, I mean, he went the way he would have wanted to go later at night. So by the time they came to get him, like it was like 2 a.m. by the time they took him. And you got to hear his grandkids laughing one more time. His favorite grandkids. Yeah, like he adored my son, like absolutely adored my son. And it was, but like I still insist that my dad dying like kind of fucked my son's head up a little bit because he was only 2 and he was like with my dad every day, and then he woke up one morning and my dad was just gone. Yeah. Like, and we tried to take him in the room after my dad had passed away. He was like 5 feet from my dad and freaked out. He's like, no, 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 no.
Like he knew he was gone, kind of.
Yeah, like he knew that wasn't his papa anymore. Like he just knew. And then the next day, he came in my dad's room and he crawled in my dad's bed and he was like, yeah, what happened? But like, I tried to explain it to him, and like, yeah, he couldn't understand it. But yeah, it was
There's a beauty to when people, especially if someone in your family, if you can be with them when they're dying, it sucks. Everything, losing people always sucks. And then especially if you're like, this person brought me into the world and now they're leaving the world, there's all that. But it's like, there's beauty to that. Like, I'm so glad when my grandma died, my mother and her sisters were able to be right there when she did, and then she was at my aunt's house. I love that. Like, if you can go that way, like, why,
Yeah.
like, how old was your dad when he passed away?
My dad, he was 78.
So he had, how long did he like really suffer with MS? Since 50?
No, he was like 40 because
Okay,
they
yeah.
kept testing him and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him.
Because it's weird. It's like your body's just fucking degenerating. What do you like?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, and my dad had progressive MS. So it happened like, like his speech was slurring, he wasn't walking as well and stuff. But then like it just started to get bad. And my mom's like, we got to take you back and get you tested. And they were like, yeah, it's progressive MS. So I did
Is that nerve? Is that nerve? No, MS is muscles, right?
Yeah, it attached your like central nervous system, and it's like,
and then you can't use your muscles to keep your muscles going.
Yeah, like I'll have to find it, but Spike Cohen, because he has MS.
Oh yeah,
he explained it very well. Now, granted, Spike is a lot healthier than my dad was, but the stuff that he talks about is very spot on, like with what my dad went through when he was first diagnosed. And like I didn't know that he had MS, and when I found out that he had MS,
and he has a black wife. He's like,
well, you know what? I respected his wife a lot more.
I love her. She's cute.
Not that I didn't respect him, but the way he talked about her standing by him through that time, I was just like, man, that's so fucking beautiful. Like, I'm so sad that that's happened to you because I hate it. I don't ever want a family to suffer like that because it's so awful. But at the same time, I'm like, man, like it's so beautiful to like see somebody love somebody like that, because I don't think a lot of people
that's what relationships are supposed to be about, but taking care, like I said, with my parents. My dad always took care of my mom, and she can't really take care of them, but they're still together, like it's that's my whole thing is like he's been taking care of me for then at some point he won't be able to, and then I'll have to take care of him. Like that's just life, right?
Yeah, like my Adam's had to take care of me, like not because of physical, but because of mental. Like after I lost my mom and my dad, woo.
You went cuckoo? You go cuckoo over the cuckoo's nest?
Yeah, like I'm just now starting to get it together, because the reason we went to Great Wolf Lodge last week was for my son's birthday. Well, we wanted to get out of town and we were going to go in May, so we were like, well, we might as well go for Grayson's birthday. So I said to my husband, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to be 6. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, holy shit, that means my mom's going to be gone for 7 years. And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm just now starting to get my shit back together, and it's been 7 years. I was like, I am a pathetic fucking person. Like,
I'm gonna be a fucking nut. One of my friends just lost her dad. It's been a really rough time with their parents. They had to financially support their parents and shit like that. And he's fighting cancer for the last couple of months. Well, he had something happen overnight, and he's older, and he died. And I'm like, I can't, like, it's so hard on her. Like, we haven't even like talked that much. And I'm like, it's so hard when they fucking die, even if you don't have a great relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna be a fucking mess, just FYI, everybody. Especially my dad. I love my dad.
Yeah, the thing that, because you'll find yourself, going online or whatever, like trying to find somebody that's like feeling the way you do, because I think in our society it's like we just kind of look at it like, oh, parents die and that's just a part of life and you go through it. There's no way of explaining to anybody how it's actually going to feel. And then I came across this blog that this guy had wrote after his mom died, and he said losing a parent is a very violent separation, no matter how old or how young they are, because it's this person that was always there for you. You know, like if
The
you had
only
a good
reason you're here is because of that person.
right, and you know, like he touched on so many things, and I was just like, wow, you know. And then I don't know if you, well, whatever.
We
Like,
talk about whatever. I love real talk. On my space last night, we were talking about like all these people had suicides in their family. Like people need to talk about this shit, especially with people who are like gonna be like, yeah, man, like, and let you talk and not be like, oh, you should do this, blah blah. Because I'll never tell you know. I just like to hear your experience, right? Like,
yeah, I try, like, I try to be like the type of person that like lets people know, like, um, all that fucked up shit that you feel in your head, or you know that people that maybe you feel people are just going about their lives and they don't care about this stuff. Like I care, and I'll listen to you. You know, like there's like we had two friends that committed suicide, and we weren't even that close to them, and it like kind of fucked me up in the head. Like when the brother was telling me how he found him, I about passed out in the middle of the funeral home. I was just like, oh my God. And I'm just thinking about this young, beautiful couple, and gone, you know?
people
And
want out sometimes, man.
yeah, and the day after the funeral, I was talking to my friend, and I was like telling her like what happened, and I was like, I'm so sorry to tell you this. She's like, it is really, it's like messed up. And I was like, I know, like I'm traumatizing you too. And she's like, no, it's okay. Like you need you need to talk about that shit. She's like, I'll just, you know, I'll just pass it along. I'll call my friend, and because it, like the way they died, like the girl shot the guy in the back of the head. Like it was all planned, you know, like
It was like a thing.
yeah, I mean, they had letters. It was all planned. It was, you know what I mean?
Oh,
But
that's so sad that it was a couple. Oh my God.
yeah, and she shot him in the back of the head first, and then she went to shoot herself in the head, and the gun jammed. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
So
you
she
just
had to
you
sit
just
there.
killed somebody.
Yeah, even though this was a total pact that you guys wanted to do, whatever. But now she's in there with this jammed gun in a garage.
And she probably doesn't know much about him and how to like unjam it, right?
No, and like me and this girl used to talk quite a bit. Like I watched their dog and stuff. Like after she died, I was like sitting there going through like all of our Facebook messages to each other and stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, dude, like, you know, like I just she was a very beautiful soul. I just think she felt things at such a deep,
There
deep
are
level.
people, yeah, it's like there are people in this world who just can't handle it. They can't, it's too much.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And I just don't think she ever found that way of getting away with it. And then, yeah, him, I think he was so addicted to the drugs. And I think they were both just in it so deep that they just felt there was just
that
no
was
way
it.
out.
That's the only answer. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
have
like
a friend who killed himself in October 2021. And like, beginning of COVID, he was weird about the fucking COVID shit. And I'm like, talk to me when you don't want to be fucking weird. Well, and then a year later, and you know what? He was in the hospital under suicide watch and he still managed it. So I'm like, you know, like what if someone wants out that which I have, like we were talking last night in my space because there's all these people like one guy had a great uncle who killed the great aunt and the dog and then killed it. Like there's just I'm like I get don't kill other people, kill your own self. That's my whole thing. Don't kill yourself, but if you're going to go that way, only you know what I mean? But it's like and I've had these thoughts like I had some shit I did and before I moved out and that's why I was like I need to move out or I'm going to fucking die, right? Like the human body and the human mind is just amazing. Hey, arm date. Yeah, it's like, and then so I had a party a couple weeks ago with for my birthday party, and a couple of my college people, or I didn't go to college. My high school friends came that we graduated together, and the one guy, he's been coming on my libertarian. He's more of a libertarian, and we really connected after COVID. And him and the guy who killed himself used to kind of be best friends. And like, so he's, you know, when all this shit, and that, like, we had such a good, honest discussion about it, almost giggly, like you said, you know, like there are things you talk about it, and it's like you just have to be able to talk about it. That's all without it being like judgmental. And I told the one guy who was telling me his brother on our space told his brother killed himself at one point, and right before he left his brother, they were like joking, I'm gonna put a gun in my mouth. Well, that's what the brother ended up doing, right? So it's like, yeah, there's all this is how humans are, right? And then how can you live with that afterwards, right? Like that would fucking fuck you up, right? But you can't let it. And so like our whole space was like, it was like church or something, because we were all just like, I love you. Like it was just like, but you need to be able to talk about that kind of shit with people, especially like people who aren't going to be like, if people want to believe in God, all that's great, but we have to be able to talk about things in a real life. I hate when you're talking about something and they're like, oh, well, he went to heaven, or about, you know, like, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about,
I hate it when people say that.
I'm like, can we just talk about this person and we all know the reality of we're on earth right now, and, you know, people kill themselves. Like, this is what we need to talk about. Right. And like, I felt like it was a really healing experience. It was like, so like, oh, it was just, and then everybody was talking about the shit. I've had relatives kill themselves. I have friends, like, I've tried to fucking kill, like, this is humanity, you know? There's always this like what's it called? Destructiveness to us, right? Like we're drinking, right? Like there's just a self-destructiveness to humans.
Drinking lemonade.
You didn't. I drank 4 fucking beer. I'm gonna stop. But like humans, but you have to be able, I think the more you can be able to open and talk about it, especially when you've gone through that, and then spread that to like other people and be like, listen. And there's a part of me that says, like, I kind of get thinking about it sometimes. Just thinking about it is almost like a therapy, right? Like they say, oh, I could end this pain just by doing this, right? And then they never do anything. So it's like, it's a weird situation that never gets talked about. But during COVID, all these teenagers have been killing themselves. That's what we have to fucking talk about, right? Like teenagers.
Right before COVID happened, Adam's little cousin's friend killed himself.
A younger person.
Yeah. And he was telling people, and parents saw these messages, and
they didn't do anything? They didn't do anything?
Goddamn thing.
Because it's also so normalized right now, too, where people, I'm fucking messed up, I'm suicidal, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, there are people you have to listen to when they say this shit. Like,
yeah, like if like so I go through my daughter's shit. I have to. Well, you have to. When I was a kid, my parents didn't read my notes or my journal because they were like, you should be able to have your own
one private thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like people are entitled to their private thoughts no matter how old they are, you know. But with internet, it's like I want to know who my daughter's talking to. I want to know what website she's going to and stuff that she's watching. And like, yeah, like if I saw my daughter like saying stuff like, I want to kill myself, or not even my daughter, if I saw another kid saying that,
right,
I would fucking call there. I would figure, even if it was just like a kid on the internet, like I would try my best to figure out a way to like get in
even
contact.
If you know it's kind of bullshit and they won't really do it, some attention needs to be spent on this kid for even fucking saying it, right?
No matter what, something's wrong. But something that bothered me and with my daughter was like this girl who said she was the same age as all these other kids, but I don't believe that she was, because she would like tell these kids like, oh, I'll be like your mom now, you know, like you can tell me all these things,
but not like a forest mommy, a bad mommy.
Yeah, I personally think it was an adult trying to like whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, because that's not something that like in an 11 or 10 or 12-year-old would say. They would just be like, hey, like if you need to talk about something that you don't want to talk to your parents about, I'll listen to you. That's a more normal thing for a kid. Not like I'll be your mommy now.
Right.
Like that shit's weird. And you know what else is fucking weird when I was going through my daughter's shit?
What?
Is how many of these kids were disgusted by their parents supporting Joe Biden. Because a lot of
Oh.
these kids look at Joe Biden as a total pedo perv. These kids are not.
They understand it? They understand it?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool because people our age are like, yeah, whatever, I'll vote for him. But even though he sniffs fucking kids, like, interesting.
Yeah, like a lot of these kids were talking about like how weird he is, like,
he's the weird
like,
grandpa that you don't want to hug. Like, ugh.
yeah, and they were like saying how they think it's weird, like how their parents are so supportive of him. Get out of here. Don't you bother my cat. Don't you bother my kitty. Don't you bother my kitty.
Hi, doggy.
She's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just scratching.
I'm just a cute dog. No,
But
that's interesting. So how old would you say the kids that were saying that were?
Anywhere from like 10 to 15, most of them.
Which,
yeah,
okay, technically a 10 for 15-year-old shouldn't fucking be paying attention to that shit. In like reality, right? Like we should be, but that's our world we're in now, and I'm thankful that they see that shit
on the internet. And it's like, I mean, I can keep my daughter from the internet so much. Hey, honey, your dog's trying to eat my cat.
Are you good? Do you want to still go? Are you pretty drunk or what? How are you feeling? I'm ape. I'm the ape. Armed ape is probably from Romania. Oh, that's why you said that. Do you want to still go? Are you good? I know we're getting to like really good conversation now.
We finished talking about Joe Biden. As long as she stays good, we're good. Yeah, I think like I try to, instead of just trying to shelter my daughter from everything, I try to have honest conversations with her about it. Like with the whole trans thing and stuff like that. I mean, I tell her like, Scar, I mean, I don't care if people are gay. Like I don't care about this stuff, but you need to understand that there's a lot of people out there that for whatever reason want to manipulate your mind as a young child. For whatever reason. Like, she had a gay teacher. He was just gay. I mean,
that's what I would tell these kids. I'm like, listen, if you are, that's something you figure out when you're 18. Like to not be negative about it, but be like, it's weird because I went through it from the Christianity side. Like when I got caught masturbating and they tried to like, they made it weird. Obviously it worked out fine, but I'm like, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, why would you do that? Like, why? Just tell them to fucking do it in the bedroom, right? And like, it's like anytime anyone tries to manipulate anyone like that, that's what you have to tell your kids to be wary of, right? Like, don't let anyone talk to you about that.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know. I hope I never touch my kids doing that. Like, I don't know, be in the shower, be in your room. Like,
well, all you have to say is just, okay, do that in private. Yeah, you're lucky because my family, like, at first they saw me because I was super fucking young and it was all organic. I wasn't abused. It was literally just a physical thing that I figured fucking out somehow. And I did, and it wasn't sexual at that. It wasn't about.
Yeah, some kids don't.
No, it was just all I knew was there was this feeling that felt great and I had to go to a certain point and then it was like, it was so funny. I figured. But they like tried to shame me for it because especially with women and from religious, they try to, there's this weird thing where they don't want women to like understand their bodies, which is weird. But
they don't want to like understand.
Pleasure. Yeah, because they want you just to get with some man who fucking sucks and not know any better. But I'm like, thank God thank God I had the mindset in my mind because they, I would get spanked for it and whatever. But then I'm like, they're not taking this from me. I'm just gonna be super secretive about it, which is what that's all you had to say in the first place. Is
yeah.
Do it. Don't do that because I did. I think Alice's phone died. All right, everybody. I think I'm going to end it because we've been going for a minute. Shit. All right. Me and Alice will pick up next week. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. That was a great spot to end it on. All right. I love y'all. Bye, arm date.